The following podcast contains naughty language and ridiculous situations. Listener discretion is advised.
Well, it turns out that Jordan Peele's fourth movie, which has yet to be titled or even have a plot, has been moved from its original Christmas date of 2024. And that's a good thing for horror fans, actually, because on that very same date, or around that date anyway, that is when Robert Eggers' Nosferatu is going to be released as well. So Universal decided to bump either up or bump down the release date of Jordan Peele's next flick. And now, like I said, this is good for horror fans because we don't want to have a whole bunch of horror films in one small, minute little area. We want them spread out all over the place. So that looks like that is what's going to happen. And I'm willing to take that hit because I am really looking forward to both of these, Nosferatu and, of course, Jordan Peele's next flick, because that guy hasn't missed a shot yet. And neither has Robert Eggers. I'd love to see who's going to be doing the better film by the end of next year. So it's going to be an interesting Christmas for 2024. What do you guys think? Are you looking forward to Jordan Peele's next flick, or are you looking forward to Robert Eggers' revival of Nosferatu? Tell us, please. Miss you. Welcome to Trick or Treat Radio.
Welcome to episode 595 of Trick or Treat Radio. Jesus fucking Christ, Raven Shadow. As I'm going on the air, he's putting on his fucking headphones, making all kinds of fucking noise. If you're going to be late, just be late. Don't try to be casually late and be like, oh, I wasn't actually late. I was there right on time.
Yeah, be Johnny Wolfenstein late.
Yeah.
Okay.
Be more like me. If you're going to be late, just fucking be late, all right?
I'm sorry.
You should be.
Noisy motherfucker.
I hit the fucking unmute button to go live and to say my thing, and all I hear is...
There's been a lot of storms lately, Wolfie.
Yeah, you're the one saying that. MZ had no fucking power, heat, gas, money, food, anything for like, what,
That's
40
right.
hours?
Yeah, for 40 hours. I was basically a frontiersman. Okay.
For 40 hours.
I was living off the grid, and not to my own accord either. Believe me, it sucked.
They're gonna make a movie about it. It's gonna be it's just gonna be called 40 hours, not 48 hours, 40 hours.
40 hours.
It's gonna be MZ braving the fucking wilds of central Maine or wherever the fuck he is.
Yeah.
No,
Oh, please
internet
let me,
porn.
no,
Please what?
please let me be Nick Nolte.
Let you be Nick Nolte? No, he's gonna play you.
Oh, okay. Jesus
So-
Christ, the condition he's in nowadays. Jesus.
Well, who do you want someone else to play you?
Our brazenly blonde actors from the 1980s have fallen on pretty hard times. Nick Nolte and Gary Busey. Jesus.
How's
Michael Vincent.
how's Mark Singer doing? Legit, I'm curious. How's Mark Singer doing? Is he still out there?
What are you asking me for? Why don't you Google it up?
Shit. Jan Michael Vincent.
Jan
I'm going to call him.
Is he still alive, Jan Michael Vincent?
Shit.
Is he still alive?
That's a good question. I'll look it up.
All right, because I meant that for Raven
No,
Shadow.
he died in 2019.
Oh, good for him.
Jesus.
Well, at least he went before the pandemic, I guess, right?
Yeah,
If
right.
you're gonna go,
Wouldn't that be a bitch if he suffered everything that he went through in his life, and it turns out the pandemic ends up what takes him? Jesus.
He's the guy that he had a motorcycle accident, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, he was a mess.
Yeah.
No
he
helmet. Fuck.
had like one leg or something. Like, yeah, he was in rough shape.
I saw him in a movie about 2 months ago, 3 months ago, maybe 3 months ago. I forget what the hell it was called. It was some film from the 1970s. Damn it, I can't remember that, but I think Vincent Schiavelli was in it.
Oh, really?
And yeah, and he still looked like, in fairly decent shape. He was still young then, but he looked like he was in fairly decent shape. But when I was reading up on the film, he was already messed up by that time. He was half shit-faced by the time he reported to work, and he needed cue cards to remember his lines and all this other stuff. He was just a fucking mess.
Wait, what year was that movie you're talking about?
Oh God, I'd have to look it up. It was sometime in the mid to late 70s.
No, but he was fucking super good looking and perfect on Airwolf. He didn't have his accident until the late 80s, early 90s.
Well, his accident is notwithstanding, but the guy was a complete mess as far as his drinking was concerned.
Oh yeah, who isn't?
No wonder why Raven Child likes him so much.
You obviously, you're a functioning alcoholic. I don't know how you do it.
Thank you, Walker. Thank you, Monster Therapy.
Let me see. I'll look up the movie that I saw. I forget the name of it.
But no,
All right,
he was
well-
a good-looking guy.
But you guys talk while I look it
Yeah,
up.
well, MZ's looking that up. Let's talk about what we're doing. So, December double feature Cram Jam rolls on, and we're doing 2 films once again. We'll be kicking things off with the film Satanic. I almost call it Satanic Panic. Satanic Hispanics. It is a horror anthology directed by, I believe it was 5 Latino filmmakers and some really good filmmakers in there. So I'm looking forward to chatting about this. We always love our horror anthologies, and we'll see how this one holds up. Also, Evil Corny says, was it The Mechanic, MZ?
Yes.
Look at that.
Yes.
Evil Corny
Yes,
knows.
It was The Mechanic. Yes, that's exactly what it was. The Mechanic. Yes.
Nice to meet you. I'm the mechanic.
I'm the mechanic.
Good call, Corny.
Yeah, look at that. Corny just pops right in and
Yeah.
drop down the fucking, just lay in the fucking trivia smackdown.
Fucking
Yeah.
my man's like Google. Nah, motherfucker's better than Google.
He's Goggle.
Goggle. We also got our boy Denny. He's hanging out on Facebook. He says, wish all you guys a Merry Christmas. Thanks, Denny. Appreciate it, buddy.
Yeah, Denny.
Thank you.
Yeah, Denny ain't shoveling this year, I'll tell you that much. She's down in the
and
Flow
right back
Rider.
at
Yeah.
And right back at you.
There you go. All right. Thanks, Denny. It's thanks for checking in. Hopefully you stick with the show for a bit. Corny's hanging out. We'll see. We'll probably get some other folks hanging out soon. But on this evening's show, as I started to mention, we'll be talking about Satanic Hispanics, and then the second film we'll be discussing is Devils, a South Korean body swap action thriller. So we'll be talking about that one. We'll be talking about Satanic Hispanics. I think we got to cut this intro short because when we do 2 flicks, we always run long, but historically, horror anthologies always take longer. And I feel like there's a lot of meat on the bone, so to speak, to talk about with this one. So I think we'll try to dial it in and, try to be as concise as humanly possible for us, which I don't know how possible that is, but we'll see. But the other thing we have to talk about, so there's a quick turnaround on this because tomorrow night, about 24 and a half hours from now, we will be going live. We'll have our Krampusnacht 2 party. What is it? I was working on the art just before this. Krampus knocked too naughty to potty or party, if you want to make it rhyme. Too naughty to party. We're going to be doing another epic crossover with the Zombie Girls. We did it last year. We had our Krampus knocked party last year. We're doing it again this year. And oh boy, do we have something planned? It will either be the greatest thing that we've ever done or the biggest shit show we've ever done. I'm not quite sure yet. What do you think, Raven Shadow?
It can really go down the middle, Wolfie, at this point. I think
Or both. Yeah, it could be both.
Yeah, it could be the best and the worst of all time.
Yep.
But I'm confident on the outcome of positivity.
All right. I appreciate that. I like your positive outlook on things. So MZ, this is sort of like MZ's baby. So we talk about we're going to play a game on the Krampus Knock party tomorrow, and it's a game that is something we've brought up on the show many times before, and I think we've even said, "Oh, it'd be awesome to do this," to actually try to do it sometime. Yeah. So now we're going to try it tomorrow. MZ, this is kind of your baby. So do you want to tell folks what we're doing a spoof of, what show we're doing a sort of a take on?
Sure. Well, tomorrow at 9:00, us three, along with the help of the Zombie Girls, as well as Rocky, the infamous Rocky, we will be doing an homage parody, whatever you want to call it, to the Hollywood Squares, the old TV game show from the 70s, 80s, and 90s, where celebrities are in the squares and they do the tic-tac-toe and the whole thing. Only we're not calling ours the Hollywood Squares. We're calling ourselves the Hollywood Scares.
Mm-hmm.
And it will be a horror-themed take on the Hollywood Squares. And I will be your host.
Don't say your name.
No.
Okay, good.
I will be in character. I do have a name prepared. And so I will be hosting. And we'll have contestants. We'll have squares. We'll have celebrities, movie stars, porno stars.
This is legit. Like this is the moment that MZ has been waiting for his entire life. He has wanted to host a game show his entire life, and tomorrow he will get the chance. So you guys don't want to miss it. I mean,
I'm the Ken Ober of my generation.
Really?
Wow.
You want to pick Ken Ober?
That is, you're under 46.
Remote control. How'd that theme go? Remote control.
Doesn't like the other kids. Remote control.
But
TV
it did.
Medic, but nothing else did.
That show did give us Colin. Oh my God, what's his name?
Quinn.
Colin Quinn. Colin Quinn.
And Adam Sandler.
Did he? Oh yeah. You're right. Holy
and
shit.
to a point, Dennis Leary too.
Was Dennis Leary on that show?
I believe so.
And Carrie Werher.
Yep.
Oh, was Carrie Werher in that before? Yep. No, she was in Failing before that.
No. I don't know. I don't think so.
I'm trying to think of, there was another girl there. Was it Daisy Fuentes?
So Remote Control was started 1987.
Oh.
So before, what was Ford Fairlane? Do you remember?
91.
90. It was 90. So this is before.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, I went to school with a girl who ended up on that show, and she ended up winning.
Oh, really?
Yeah, a girl I went to school with back in Grafton. Her name was Megan, and she was on the show, and she won. I couldn't believe it. I'm like, what?
That's pretty funny.
Yeah.
So that, So starring Craig Vandenberg, John Tenick, Adam Sandler, Dennis Leary, Roger Kabler, Steve Tricase. I remember Steve Tricase. I forget why I know that name. But yeah, it was on MTV from 1987 to 1990. And it was in syndication for a year, I guess, 89 to 90 as well. So
Sing along with Colin.
5 seasons.
That was like popular. That was like the most popular station, the most popular pick. Sing along with Colin.
So yeah, it was presented by Ken Ober and Colin Quinn with Marisol Massey from season 1, Kari War from season 2 and 3, Alicia Coppola season 4, and Susan Ashley season 5.
Huh.
So I don't see Daisy Fuentes.
No, I thought she was.
No, because she came out in the mid to late 90s.
I want to see the
What
show.
was her gimmick?
I haven't seen the show in a long time. I want to watch this again.
Which
Oh,
one?
I'm sure
Remote
it's on
Control?
YouTube.
Remote Control, yeah.
I'm sure it's on YouTube somewhere, or maybe
I never saw it.
What?
Maybe on YouTube. You never saw.
How did you
Remote
never
Control?
see Remote Control?
Fucking
Millbury, because of the way the cable packages were done in those days, Millbury didn't get MTV until it was the year that Dre Day video came out and Aerosmith's Living on the Edge.
Jesus.
And
Did you have
And the
V66?
Beavis and Butthead. What's that?
Did you have V66 at least?
We have V66 because that was
Yeah.
on channel 56.
B66 was awesome.
Yeah, but it wasn't MTV.
It was
So I
the
was-
localized MTV. You know.
It was localized, but like I would only hear legends in those days. There was no internet, so there was stuff that I would see maybe replayed on other news shows or video knockoffs. You were aware of it culturally, but yeah, I didn't get. I wanted my MTV, but didn't get it until fucking like 90.
That's
93.
Yeah.
oh man, that's
Yeah,
rough.
like-
I had MTV right when it launched.
Yeah,
Yeah.
me too.
Ooh.
I mean, all you got was the V. We got the MTV.
yeah.
But like we had all the cable channels. I had HBO as soon as that was available. But for some reason, the way the cable packages were bundled in those days, it was almost like the old territory days, right? Like in WWE wrestling.
Well, before WWE killed the territories, you mean?
Right. So I mean, like Grafton was in a different territory than Millbury, even though you were our neighbor.
That's
Wonder
yeah,
you
that's
ended-
crazy.
Ended up so lame.
Yeah, no shit.
Really?
Well, you had no MTV.
Yeah, no MTV, man.
No, it took a fucking while. I didn't become a rock and roll superhero until I was like fucking 23. But
That's rough.
Remote Control was the fucking
Yeah,
shit,
it was
man.
good.
That show was great. That show
Yeah.
was great. Dude, go on YouTube,
Yeah, you
look
should
up
watch
Remote
it. Yeah.
Control, and just, I'm sure it's got to be on there. There has to be.
oh, for sure.
Let's see, I'll take a look. I'm
Good.
sure.
Thank
I'm
you.
certain.
Doing a show, but sure.
Yeah. Well, why not? Yeah. Hey, the fans care. Let me see. I'm sure they have it.
Corny, do you care? No, he doesn't care.
So yeah, we will be playing our version of Hollywood Scares. We'll be doing it tomorrow. That we've never played it before. I don't know
Yeah.
how long it's going to take. It might take the whole episode. Who fucking knows? But we're gonna have a blast. We're gonna hang out with the Zombie Girls. We are gonna have Rocky is gonna be joining us, and it should be a blast. So there's some
It's funny,
surprises
dude.
too. Some surprise guests I think will be joining us as well.
Here it is. Remote Control. 104 videos. MTV Remote Control. 104 videos.
There you go. What, on YouTube?
And enjoy. On YouTube. Just sit back and enjoy.
So watch all 104 Raven Shadow in a row, okay?
Yeah.
I want you to do that on your holiday break. He didn't hear us. Yeah.
What?
No, never mind.
No, say it. No, I was.
No.
But say it again.
So we will be doing Hollywood Scares. It's going to be fun. Hopefully you guys join us. Last year, I never ended up putting the Krampusnacht party audio out on the podcast because I felt like it was a live experience, and you can watch it on YouTube. I feel it's one of those things that just might not work as well on audio. So I would implore you folks, if you're interested, to show up live, because I just think it's going to be, it could be a train wreck of epic proportions. And if it is, I might take it down. It might never be available. Are you
saying it could be like holiday special? No, I think no.
No.
The name of my brother.
Raven Shadow, I'm trying to get people to tune in live. Shh. If I say it might be bad and it might not be available after, they'll have to tune in live. Shh.
All right, cool. All right, on 3. And we're back.
So yeah, who knows? But I don't think I'm going to release the audio because, like I said, it's a full experience with the video.
Yeah.
So you got to watch the video.
It's going to be kind of like Epcot Center. You know what I mean? Like
if you can,
sights and sounds.
What if you can dream it? You can do it. Is that?
I think Frankenfurter said that.
Don't dream it, be it.
Yeah. What did Wolfie say?
If you can dream it, you can do it.
Yeah. See, I had a boss that would say that. I'm like, you know what? I dream about fucking cancer being cured. Is it fucking done yet? No, it isn't.
Well, maybe you're not dreaming hard enough.
Yeah.
All right. Good night, everybody.
And that's the show.
And then I'm going to go nights. No, but here's the thing. At this point, this will be the official third, team up of the Zombie Girls. We had Krampusnacht last year. We had the team up before today.
The team up before. That was for one of our milestones. I think it was for the 11-year anniversary, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. So this one is if you're MZ, if you're a comic fan, when the JLA guest stars with the JSA and the regular books, but now this is going to be the hardcover graphic novel. This is fucking JSA, Virtue and Vice. You know what I mean? This is a hardcover special that is going to get released in softcover. We don't know, but you gotta show up, right?
Yeah. Yeah, you gotta. So I'm looking at the 11-year anniversary show, episode 574. So we interviewed our boy Steven Scarlatta, and then we were joined by Rocky to do a table read of select scenes from Weird Science. And then we wrapped it all up with a game of 6 Degrees of Sitcoms with the Zombie Girls. So yeah, so that was the 11-year anniversary, episode 574. And it was great. 4 hours and 39 minutes. So there you go. But yeah, we always have a blast with the Zombie Girls. So yes, this will be the third official full team up. And
actually, speaking of,
we have some fun stuff.
Speaking of Steven Scarlatta, name drop. I started listening to the Best Movies Never Made podcast today.
I told you, you're gonna like it.
I do.
Which one did you listen to? Is it a Sonic one?
No. It's actually, I jumped in. They're doing a 5-episode arc on the Batman movies.
Oh, okay.
There was one that almost came out in the late 70s and then in the 80s, and some fucking how John Peters was attached to fucking all of them.
And he was going to have spiders in every single one of them, right?
It's so fucking crazy, but it was Steven Scarlatta, his boy, and a couple of guest stars. They actually read some of the script. It's wild. It actually, I learned today that the very first comic book announcement movie was done at Comic-Con in 1980, and it was this rumored Batman film that never got made.
Yeah,
so
they are a fountain of incredible information, and also he's got his Neon Maniacs podcast, which is I haven't had a chance to listen to it yet, but I think it's called Beyond the Shadow of the Neon Maniacs.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Stevie Scarlatta is kicking some ass with the podcast stuff. So I would
He's got a lot of content, if you know what I mean.
Listen to you. Yeah. So that's good. I'm glad you're checking that out, Raven Shadow. He's got some great episodes for Best in Movies Never Made. I haven't been keeping up, but there's a lot of really good stuff. I think they even talked about oh man, fuck, what was that movie? That famous lost film, MZ monster movie. Oh, fuck. Of course I forget. Let me look it up.
Lost film with the word monster in it?
No. London After Midnight. That's what I was trying to think of.
Oh, yeah, the Lon Chaney joint.
Lon Chaney, yeah. So that's like the most famous. I think they actually covered that one too. But that's like one of the most famous lost films. But I guess, you know what? I guess technically, maybe they didn't talk about that. Maybe I'm confusing it because that film was made. It just never got a release because it was made and lost. Like prints were either I think there was a fire and they lost the.
That's exactly what it was.
Yeah.
They lost it. They lost it in a fire because back then the films were made in nitrate. Nitrate is very, very flammable, and it's a fire, and all the prints got destroyed. There is always that one rumor going around saying that someone has a print of it somewhere in Cairo or something like that. You know, I mean, and I'm always holding up hope that sooner or later we will see a print of this.
You know what? You mentioned him earlier, MZ, but Robert Eggers. You know, it'd be fun if Robert Eggers just fucking made London After Midnight. He seems kind of like the dude to do it, right?
Yeah, I mean, also you can't really judge it on anything if nobody's seen it in over 100 years. So, you know, it's kind of hard to judge it.
Well, yeah, definitely.
You know, to compare it. I mean, it's the remake that almost isn't. You know, if he was to do something like, or if anybody was to do something like that. To be perfectly honest with you, I'm surprised nobody's ever really tackled that idea.
Yeah, I am too. Unless it has, and we're just not aware. I imagine you would be privy to it, though, MZ. So,
no, I haven't heard anything. The last I heard some stuff earlier this year that there's a possibility that somebody could have it, and I don't know what they are. Apparently someone does have a copy of it. I have heard this. I don't know how true it is, and I have heard also that this person plans to do something with it next year, 2024. I don't know how true that is. Of course, it's just rumor.
Speaking of London After Midnight, I just looked it up. It looks like there's a podcast series. So, looks like someone has been doing it in sort of audio, like dramatic audio sort of podcast. Let me see if I can find any others. And what was this? 2002? Yeah, so there's a 47-minute film from 2002. It says, reconstruction made from still photographs of the lost 1927 Todd Browning film London After Midnight. Huh. They were directed by Rick Schmidlin. And, I guess it's just stills. Interesting. I don't think I even knew that existed. But other than that, yeah, I'm actually really surprised that we haven't seen something. There's another one called London After Midnight from 2005. It's a really low budget. It's on Tubi actually. It says David London and Holly Gemini are paranormal investigators fighting the forces of evil. So I don't think it has anything to do with It looks real low budget. Like shot on video, low budget is what it looks like to me.
Tubi is the home of low budget horror.
That's why you love it so much.
I mean, that's what. But you know, I love Tubi so much. I mean, it's just the home of just great not even great, but just a whole bunch of independent horror. You know, filmmakers trying to hone their craft on piece of shit films. But at least they're working on it. At least it's something to put on their resume, and they're working on. They're making something. But I'll tell you this. I'll tell you what's real. But what really pisses me off about Tubi, and this is on a personal level, and it should affect you guys too when you think about it. All these films that come out on Tubi from these Z-rate directors with zero casting. No actors. They're just people playing actors on a movie. What is it about these films that can get on that app, but yet the films of Brian Paulin can't get on there? I don't get it. It makes no sense to me. He has, granted, his budget can't be that much better than those that are on Tubi. But Jesus, at least there's something with substance on there, and that being the gore and the nudity. These films have that too, but his is far better. And I'm not saying that, because I worked with the guy and because you guys work with that guy. It's because it's fact. If you watch some of the low budget independent horror that's on Tubi, you will shake your head in wonderment as to why so many of these kind of films end up on there, but yet the films that we've ended up there on working with Brian can't get on there, because I've looked it up and I don't see them. They're not there, and it makes no sense to me.
And that's interesting, MZ. Like, you've watched way more Tubi than pretty much anybody. But I have dipped my toe in the Tubi pool, and I found though.
How's the water?
It's it's free water. What are you gonna do? It's wet. I do see they cut they do make some edits from what I've seen on some pictures, and I almost think this Brian Paulin stuff is too gory from what I've seen. Like, he pushes the boundaries, and obviously there's a market for it. We've seen it on his website. We've seen the Fandom Man. Hell, he's fucking in Japan. You know what I mean, doing shit. But do you think he's just too gory for Tubi?
I don't think so. I've seen gory shit on that station, on that app, and
the big question though is, MZ, does he have? I know he has some distribution, but does he have distribution in the U.S.? And if it's his own, if it's independent, like, he has to upload it somewhere like Film Hub or some other site like that where streamers can pick it up. So they're not just going to give him a call and be like, "Hey, we want you on our service." It's there has to be some sort of digital distribution that is worked out.
I don't know. I guess.
I gotta ask MZ real quick. I want to pivot on. Oh, actually, hold on. Before I do that, so London After Midnight, I just pulled up some reviews of the shot on video one that's on Tubi, and it actually the reviews aren't bad. It says, if you dig sincere shot on video horror that was obviously made with a lot of heart, there's a lot to like here. No one else need apply. So, another person says shot on VHS, so it might not be the best looking film, but it does deliver. Glad Tubi gave us one a shot. Otherwise, who knows if we would have ever seen it. So, MZ, you should watch London After Midnight on Tubi.
I'll give it a look.
All right.
I got the weekend.
Let me see. Oh, Rocky in the chat asked, he said, "It ain't no skin deep." And I wanted to ask you, MZ. So on the Star Wars podcast, we're doing, because there's no live action Star Wars shows, and there won't be for a while, I don't think. We started doing Star Wars adjacent films. So we get to pick a film that we can somehow tie back to Star Wars. It can be very loosely tied back. And the one that we did this week was a film called Skinned Deep. and it
Wow, that's a
stars
fucking pull.
Warwick Davis, or features Warwick Davis. It's from
Right.
2004. Skinned, not skin. Skinned.
Oh, the walking around, the midget. I'm sorry. It's good.
So Skinned Deep. It's MZ. It's directed by Gabe Bartalos,
Hey.
and it features
Okay.
Forrest J. Ackerman is in it, and also it has Warwick Davis. Are you familiar with it?
Well, I wasn't sure at first, but then when you mentioned Bartolos, I'm like, man, that name does sound familiar.
It was one of two films he directed.
Yeah. Yes, I have heard of it. I've never seen it. I never really gave it much thought.
Well, it's on Plex, so you can. It's on Tubi too. Actually, I think it's on Tubi, so you can give it a look if you want. It's an interesting one. I'll tell you that much. Warwick Davis plays a character named Plates, and his weapon of choice are dinner plates.
Oh, shut up! You're bullshit.
Not kidding. It's something else.
Yeah, it sounds it.
Rocky says, and I hate myself for breathing in the same lifetime as this movie. It's interesting though. It's I will say it shares some DNA with Neon Maniacs in the sense that like it's one of those movies that I can't believe is real and needs to be seen to be believed. I'm not saying it's good, but
think about it. I mean, when we went to go see The Void and we had
Yeah.
Bartolos sit right next to us.
I know.
Like,
I told that story on the Star Wars show.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. Gabe Bartalos sat right next to MZ, dude who did like fucking makeup effects on some of MZ's favorite movies, Basket Case 2,
That's Case 3.
3, Frankenhooker, Spookies, like all these fucking crazy movies. He worked on the Matthew Broderick Godzilla.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's kind of funny that that happened.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Another film that would fit into your little Star Wars adjacent idea that you have going on there, of course, and you should discuss it, is Transformers the movie.
Okay. What's the connection there?
Oh, Jesus Christ. It's basically a shot remake of it.
Oh, okay.
I
haven't seen it since the 80s.
And it's seriously, you watch it. God damn.
He's attacking MZ. He's humping his leg. So, all right. Transformers the movie.
Talking. I'm going to try and calm this little bastard down.
Jesus Christ.
Jesus Christ.
Oh my God. Wow.
Wow, he's being attacked by the Hound of the Baskervilles.
Yeah, speaking of London After Midnight. Fucking Hounds of Baskerville over there.
Apparently, Monster Zero rescued Cerberus. I don't mean the gray aardvark.
Yeah. All right, what were we talking about? So we're talking about the Krampusnacht show, so it's going to be fun.
Yeah.
Are you excited, Raven Shadow?
I am excited, Wolfie.
Are you excited for some of the guests that are scheduled to appear?
I am super excited for the guests. Once again,
Oh, yeah.
another reason. Oh, man. That's why you're going to turn it live to see. It's going to be a visual smorgasbord.
Yeah. So, and also, if you guys out there, listeners like me, even just a little bit, like even like this much, I'm holding my fingers apart, like, like a quarter of an inch. Even if you like me that much, I have already put way too much time into this, and I'm going to spend all day tomorrow getting the video stuff ready. Literally, I will spend almost all day tomorrow. So please just tune in because I'm going to spend a fuck ton of time getting ready for this. So please tune in.
And that's a legit shoot because not for nothing, like all the if you can dream it, you can build it or whatever the fuck. That's where we're like Bombaleo, let's have dragons, and then Wolfie has to figure it out. On top of like the hour and a half conversation that Wolfie and I had Tuesday.
Well, you and I we had an hour and a half conversation on Monday, and then on Tuesday I had like an hour conversation with Rachel. And then last night we had maybe 45-minute conversation with MZ and you and me. So like it's weird because we never plan anything. So to actually have some semblance of planning is like, crazy.
It is. Yeah. And let's up the ante. Is that we had a freak like in the Northeast, like a weird torrential rain and windstorm. MZ lost power. Up in Sheboygan, Maine.
Yeah, we talked about it at the beginning. I think you were here.
Oh, okay. Oh, sorry.
Oh, I think maybe I don't know. Maybe you were putting your headset on and making things fucking loud. But we started planning it, and then we thought we weren't going to have MZ because MZ, what they tell you that your power might not be on like until the weekend or something.
Yeah, it was getting pretty sketchy around here, and people were talking about how, the bridges were closed, and because the bridges were closed, because they were being flooded, that I was basically trapped. I couldn't go anywhere. I couldn't go out and get food or gas or any supplies at all. And with the amount of trees that were uprooted, I mean, just an incredible amount. I mean, I've been through hurricanes that didn't have as much damage as this storm did. It was incredible. I've never seen anything like it.
I could see MZ like getting all like the end of the mist. Like, oh, we're on hour 39. Like it's over. Like, let's just fucking call it. Let's we're done. We're done for. Let's and then the power comes out just as he's fucking like taking care of himself.
I don't want to speak out of turn, but MZ's going to have to update his census in a couple of weeks. Just saying.
but
and also, too, they heard that the railroad might not be built next year.
Well, this is a slow-moving town, but it's picking up as far as its somewhat seedy reputation.
They just got the talkies at the local theater.
Yep. Yes. We just got It's a Wonderful Life just last week. So.
Only about 70 more years till It's a Wonderful Knife.
Yeah, that movie totally copied It's a Wonderful Knife, bro.
Yeah.
All right.
And also, and you guys don't know this yet because I wanted to save it as a surprise, and I might as well let you know now. Tomorrow, I'm going to have my appearance altered.
Oh.
I will be altering my appearance.
Oh.
This face that you see here, you will not see it as it is now. Tomorrow
that sounds very ominous. He's going to alter his appearance. Like, are we talking face off?
Like in Face Off?
Yeah, face off. He's going to show up looking like, I don't know, Jim J. Bullock tomorrow.
Yeah. I'm Jim J. Bullock. I'm Jim J. Bullock.
Yeah. That's how Jim J. Bullock talks. Sure.
And I'm Shadow Stevens. MZ, who's your favorite?
I'm Jim J. Bullock. MZ, Mr. Raj. Mr. Raj.
Who is your favorite host of Hollywood Squares?
Oh, Peter Marshall.
That's what I thought. He was the original, right?
I think he was, yeah.
He's a good-looking man.
Peter Marshall.
Oh, Evil Corny
John
says...
Davidson
John Davidson was pretty good.
Yeah. John
and
Davidson,
Tom Bergeron.
I don't like him.
Boston's own.
I know. I don't like him, though.
Yeah, he's a bit of a yutz. He always was.
Evil Corny asks, so MZ is improving that face?
Something has to.
I didn't think it could be improved upon. All right, let's wrap this up. Casual Noob is hanging out on YouTube. He says, "Hey, all, what did I miss?" I don't know. I don't know when you posted that, but you missed a lot. But don't miss tomorrow. Don't miss tomorrow's live show. That's the key. So we're doing a special event. It's not a weekly show. Probably not going to put the audio out on the feed. It is a special live show. And Denny, he says, Raven Shadow, 70s all weekend. Hell yeah, no snow, brother.
Yeah, baby.
Down in FLA, I guess.
Yep.
And then he says, hell yeah, the V66 beat goes on. All right. I think we're all caught up. So let's wrap this up. So tomorrow night, if you're listening to this live, if you're listening to this as soon as the day it drops on the podcast feed on Friday, December 22nd at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, that is 8 p.m. Central Time and 6 p.m. Pacific Time, Raven Shadow.
Wait,
so
what?
For Linus or anyone in the UK, it would be at 2 a.m. So we're sorry if you're in the UK.
He's probably going to be up, dude.
He might be.
Yeah, he has before, so.
Yeah.
So we'll be doing
Linus,
it live. We'll keep it up on YouTube. So you can at the very least watch it on YouTube. I don't know if we're going to release the audio, but please tune in live. We are putting this is actually the most effort we might have ever put into an episode, and it still could be a huge shit show. So please tune in, make your plans. Friday, December 22nd, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We'd love to have a huge turnout in the chat room, and we want to know what you guys think about it. Because if it goes over well, who knows? Maybe we'll do it again. If it doesn't go over well, we'll definitely never do it again.
should we mention some of the squares, or should that be a secret?
No, stars.
No,
We're getting guest stars. That's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
You got to tune in for that. They got to tune in.
We've given enough
Yes.
information. Time to get moving.
Yes. And we have movies to talk about. So I'm going to do this quick. If you guys want to support the show, there's a couple ways you can do so. The best way is Patreon. Patreon.trickortreatradio.com. Head on over there. You can join for as little as $2 a month. And you know what? If you want, you could even join for free. You don't get all the perks, but you can at least see what's coming out on a monthly basis. You can participate in some of the conversations and just get notified of future content as it comes out on Patreon. So give that a look and consider supporting. I also we have so much going on with this live show coming tomorrow that I had some other ideas I wanted to run by you guys about Patreon stuff for next year. So this is just, for Raven Shadow and MZ. I have some ideas about some stuff for Patreon. So maybe we'll talk about that after tomorrow. But we might try to expand some stuff for Patreon because we appreciate all the support and we would love more support. And we want to offer stuff to you guys in exchange for your support. So give it a look, patreon.trickortreatradio.com. Also, we have the Amazon link. Go to trickortreatradio.com, scroll down, look for the Amazon logo, click it. It's going to bring you right to Amazon. It's going to input our affiliate link. Everything they purchase in that session, Michael Ravenshadow will get attributed to us, but it doesn't cost them any extra.
Well, it's another way to help keep the lights on.
That's right. So you guys can help out that way. And finally, on trickortreatradio.com, you can click on the store. It's going to bring you to our digital store, and you can buy the greatest hits of Trick or Treat Radio, volumes 1 through 3. So it's a nice little sampler of the early years. So give all that a look. Consider supporting. But the best way to support immediately, show up for the live show tomorrow. That's the best way that you can support. You get to hang out with us. You get to hang out with the Zombie Girls. You get to hang out with Rocky. And you get to hang out with all the other people in the chat. So it is not to be missed.
No.
All right, Michael Ravenshadow, you have 2 movies to watch this week. One of them's an anthology. What do you do? Oh, shit. And on both movies, they're subtitled. Holy shit. This must have been a fucking nightmare for you.
I was having an anxiety attack, Wolfie.
So what do you do to prepare?
I had to get my fucking license renewed.
To watch the movies?
Yeah, to go to the video store to renew my Blockbuster license. No, my driver's license. I had to get that. It's been 5 years since I got a license. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Okay.
And that sucked. So I had to get the real ID. You understand? So to get all the
You
paperwork.
haven't had the real ID yet?
Nah, because
I've had it for like
panicked.
15 years, I think.
What's that?
It seems like I've had it for like 15 years.
No.
It's been a
did it
while.
like 5 years ago.
No, I don't know. It seems
Yeah.
longer.
All right. Well, what are you gonna do? So I didn't do it last year. I did it this year. I did that, and I went to AAA this time. Didn't go to the RMV, which is much better. I'm not sure if they have those
agreed.
resources. In not Massachusetts, but the guy who I dealt with looked kind of like Warren Zevon, which I thought you would appreciate. And I give him my ID amongst all my other paperwork, and my current driver's license has my my long hair. And he's like, "Oh, like the long hair. This one's better." And I'm like, "All right, well, I've
I
always
agree.
been long hair at heart. But like,
No.
don't judge me, Warren Zevon." I think I'm gonna grow my hair back, but fine. So I do it. I did it, passed it. But what the more important thing was, I filled out. I'm now an organ donor.
Oh, you're not giving away.
Nobody
you're not
wants
gonna
your
give away
liver.
Your lungs, are you? Or your liver?
Are you
Those
doing that
those-
because no one's going to want your fucking organs?
No, nobody's gonna want your liver or your lungs because they're all black and tarred up. Nobody's gonna want your eyes because they're all beady and shit.
Wow.
I mean, what do you have to offer people with your organs? What, your intestines, your heart? Your heart's got to be as black as night.
That's what I figure. Like, what have I got to lose? But like, yeah, like, but if there's anything that's like, I'm pretty sure I know the story's going to end. But like, you could take something out of me and keep going. That's like being immortal, right? But yeah, I'm not sure what you're going to get. But I feel better about myself. So I came home strapped on.
Greetings! We are the Retro Reductopus Cephala Podcast, a bi-weekly show that celebrates all the things that made growing up awesome.
He's right. We wax philosophic about lots of geeky crap like old video games and movies, toys, cartoons. I don't know, help me out here.
Music, pants, quoting video games that don't have dialogues, shabibans, tasty news,
Unnecessarily long Japanese onomatopoeia.
butt breathers, uncomfortable nature facts.
or how to install a thermoflange.
And unlike all those other podcasts, we at Retro Redoctopus have an exciting rotating host schedule.
Do we? We sure do.
So, if you didn't like the guy flapping his gums this week,
Like me.
worry not, gentle listener. Next week we'll have a whole new host.
Of problems.
Hey, they might still suck, but they'll suck differently.
And you know what's really cool? Retro Reductopus is part of the Inebriard Podcast Network, with new episodes out every Tentacle Tuesday.
Which is like every other Tuesday. We named it.
Anyways, you can listen to us at iTunes, Google Play, Spotify,
I'm Alex
Stitcher, or
West. I'm Andrea
Stitcher.
Subasati, and we're from the Faculty of Horror podcast.
And you're listening to Trick or Treat Radio.
You go through your week with the same old routine.
What you really want is some blood and thunder in your life.
Well, friend, you found it. The Cromcast is an adventurous journey through the history of two-fisted pulp stories with your hosts John,
Josh,
and Luke. We have action,
horror,
and adventure, all through the lens of pulp luminary Robert E. Howard.
Don't just stay in your ordinary life.
Find your pulp life at thecromcast.blogspot.com.
The Cromcast.
The Cromcast.
The Cromcast.
A podcast for the barbarian at heart.
I'm Mike Allred. For the gidgiest listening experience, you got to check out Trick or Treat Radio.
And we are back on Trick or Treat Radio. All right, let's talk about our first film. So we're going to talk about Satanic Hispanics first. This horror anthology. Let me pull up the details here. So Satanic Hispanics rated R. It is 112 minutes. And it's a, as I mentioned, just straight up horror film, horror anthology. And I'm not going to go through all of the cast because obviously there's a lot of people that are in the horror anthology, but I will mention a couple folks, and that is first off the Traveler, who's played by Efren Ramirez. Do you guys recognize Efren?
I was struggling.
Yeah, he looks familiar.
Like everywhere from what's the fucking Tater Tot movie?
The Tater Tot movie.
Pedro. Napoleon Dynamite.
Yeah. That was
that was Pedro.
Yeah.
That was Pedro. Wasn't
Yep.
Was that Pedro?
That was Pedro, yeah.
Yeah, that was Pedro.
Vote for Pedro.
Yeah.
He looked fucking great in this.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, he looked fantastic. He's got a good look on him, man.
Yeah.
So we'll talk about more about him as we sort of get in to the flick, but I will say right off the bat, the inclusion of him in this, I think, really elevated that wraparound.
Right off the jump, it did what the projectionist did not do.
Or any number of fucking especially that, but any number of horror anthology flicks. But he was great in this. So I'll just, that kind of blowing the load right off the top here, but he was great, and I think he did a lot for this flick. So Efren Ramirez was in this, and also Raven Child's boy Pacman, Greg Grunberg. He played one of the cops who also was in the Rapper.
Pacman had some stacks in the off season.
Who's Pacman?
Greg Grunberg. He played the detective that was questioning the Traveler.
Oh, the guy who looked like a cross between Andre the Giant and George Wendt.
What? No, he doesn't.
That guy?
He doesn't look
that
like.
Guy?
Well,
it's more Jon Favreau.
I don't. Yeah, maybe Jon Favreau. He doesn't. No, he doesn't look like George Wendt. Come on.
No. He was in Big Ass Spider. He was
George
in.
Wendt. All right, George Wendt on Wish.
No. He's the handsome, he's a very attractive man, but I'm just saying that.
Hey, the pandemic treated everyone differently. Some people did put on the COVID-19.
I'm not shaming. Unlike Monster Zero with the eye comment earlier. You
got beady eyes. I can't help that. That's why you wear the glasses, so nobody will look at your beady little eyes.
No, it's so I can see.
You can look so people won't look at your little marble eyes.
I think he's saying that because we can't see your eyes, so you can't dispute it. You can't, because you're not going to take off your glasses.
Yeah, you won't. Prove me wrong. Take off your glasses.
I see with them.
Prove me wrong. Take off your glasses.
No, I'm like Scott Summers. If I take my glasses off, you're going to have a optic blast come out. I got shadow quartz on these sunglasses.
I'm not sure what this is a reference to, but Evil Corny said they'll probably use Raven Shadow's hair and sense of humor. Are you able to donate those? What was he referring to?
Oh, my organ donating.
Oh, that. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, hey, you could donate your hair.
Like, is hair an organ?
It is now.
Yeah.
Can you donate whatever packs of cigarettes you don't smoke before you die? Or are you going to take those with you?
Yeah, well.
Oh, man.
You guys tell me. I'll fucking put whatever you want in there.
Your heart, your lungs, and your liver are basically cat food at this point.
Jesus. All right, let's jump in. We got a lot of stuff to talk about. So the directors, you know what? I'm not going to name them all. I'll go down in order of, we'll talk about them in order, and talk about the directors that did what. So first segment. Well, actually, sorry, I forgot to read the synopsis, although, I mean, for horror anthology, it doesn't really matter, but when police break into a house in El Paso, they find it filled with dead Latinos and a lone survivor, known as El Viajero. How do you say that? Viajero. I'm not sure how you say it, actually. He is taken to the police station for questioning. So that's all we got, and that's the wraparound. But so I did like how they sort of tied the wraparound into the other stories. Now, actually, let's do first impressions. So before we dive into each individual one and talk a little bit about it, let's talk about overall first impression. So I guess I'll go first. And for first impression for me, I always approach horror anthologies with a little trepidation. I want to like them. I always feel like I get excited and my expectations might be higher because I have a lot of fond memories of horror anthologies when I was younger, like Creepshow 2, I don't know, just others, nothing else coming to mind right now, but others like that. And I just have a fondness for watching them. And it's something that just sort of strikes me. I'm like, oh man, I'm looking forward to this. I want to see what they do. And, the cool thing about it is you have an opportunity. If the first one doesn't hit, the second one might, and the third one might, and the fourth, so it's like you have like typically 3 to 5 or 6, or in the case of like ABCs of Death, 26 opportunities to really grab the audience. And so there's something kind of exciting about that. It's not just necessarily watching a short film. It's shorter narratives that are knit together to create a shared narrative sometimes, or there's something that like binds them together. And in this case, it's very obvious what that is. And so my impression was that I thought this was one of the better ones I've seen in the last couple years. It's hard for me to really like hold it up to the others and say where it ranks, but there was a lot more hits than misses. And even the ones that missed had some redeeming qualities for me. So we'll sort of break them down as we talk about each individual one. But by and large, I did enjoy this, and it makes me want to see some more from some of these directors. So I'll just kind of cap it there. So how about you, MZ? First impressions.
Well, I've been wanting to see this.
Yeah,
the
you brought it up
time.
like 3 or 4 months ago.
Yeah, when I first heard about this, I'm like, ooh, this looks like it could be good, and if not good, at least the very least interesting, because we haven't had an anthology based with just Latino directors. So it's interesting to see where they're going to go with the stories. And I agree with you, Wolfie. When it comes to anthologies, there is always some bit of wondering, and maybe even, for lack of a better term, maybe a little nervousness as to whether or not you always feel like not every short is going to be a winner, but you at least hope that more are going to be good than there's going to be more good than bad.
Yeah.
And in this case, that is definitely the case here. There are more good than bad. As a matter of fact, there is no bad. There's stories here with that are very good, interesting, so interesting to the point that they're never boring, entertaining, funny, because they do manage to mix up their humor with their seriousness of horror and the gore that's involved, because there is a good amount of violence involved here, and while there is CGI violence in here, there is more of the actual red stuff. So you can kind of give the CGI a little bit of a pass. But also, as Wolfie says, the shorts that I've seen here makes me want to see more from these directors, particularly one story, which I thought was the capper of them all. I just thought it was great.
Yeah, I can't wait to find out which one that is.
It was just wonderful. I loved it, and to the point. The more I watched these, with the exception of one story, because there were 5 stories, with the exception of one story, I would love to see a full feature out of the other 4. Not because that one isn't that good enough. I just think it works best as a short. The other 4 can work best as a full feature, I think. But we'll talk about it some more as we go along. But that's how I feel right now.
All right. How about you, Raven Shadow?
So I am a mark for the anthology genre from multiple genres. You know, I fucking adore the Groove Tube. I adore the Kentucky Fried Movie, right? And I'm sure some of you boys do too. You know, love Creep Show. You know, it's, you know, the anthology is a cinematic dragon I've been chasing for a long time, you know, to be a good one. And we know we've done the history of the show in our real life, the ones that are, you know, good ideas, yada, yada, whatever the fuck. More often than not, I found the weakest link in a lot of anthologies is the wraparound. And from the jump, I gotta say, this is the best wraparound, not only story, actors, but plot device that I've seen probably in the almost 11 years of the show that we've done. Where I gotta say, I was more interested almost in the wraparound than the overall pictures. And that by no means is a slight to those films. I just was locked in. So I was very much along for the ride.
All right. So let's dive in and start talking about the individual shorts. So as mentioned, the wraparound is The Traveler, and it is directed by Mike Mendez from Big Ass Spider fame.
Yep.
And stars Efren Ramirez, as we mentioned, and he talks to 2 detectives, Greg Grunberg, played by Greg Grunberg, and Sonia Eddy. And so he is the lone survivor of this kind of like bizarre massacre or shootout. And so the cops show up. You know what's funny is the very beginning of this reminded me of one of the VHS wraparounds,
Yep.
the one with the SWAT team, and I was like, oh no, because that was one of my least favorite wraparounds that we've seen in an anthology. Thankfully, it didn't go in that direction, and we got a pretty cool wraparound. Now, so the wraparound starts. We get this sort of SWAT team showing up, and everyone's dead, and then. I actually liked, you could see there's like a dude sitting in a chair, and then he keeps pulling his like hand up, and he's holding a gun, so they keep shooting him, and then the hand goes up again, and they keep shooting him, and it turns out that there was a chain that led to another room that was, you know, sort of guiding it, so the guy was actually dead, but and then
like a marionette sort of
thing. Yeah, exactly. That's a good call. And then so they go into the next room, and that's where they find the Traveler, played by Efren Ramirez. And so they bring him in for questioning, and he's basically, you know, like, you know, you can't bring me in. Like, you know, he keeps talking about like, he's going to get me or, you know, whatever. And then he says like, you know, if I'm not out of here in 90 minutes, he's coming for me. So it actually kind of was interesting because it gave a time limit, like for the film, right? Like, so it kind of plays out, and then he goes ahead and is being questioned. So they bring him into an interrogation room and they start asking him about this, and he keeps telling them these stories, and they think he's bullshitting, which maybe he is, maybe he isn't. He talks about who he is, and oh, I gotta go to my sister's wedding or something like that. And then so he starts they ask him about these other people, and so he conveys these stories of these other people. And so over the course of the next 90 minutes is him sort of narrating, in a sense, these stories, and then it cuts to the actual story, and those are the shorts. So, it was, I will say, it was a bit contrived at points, because it's like, why is he bringing up this person? Like, it didn't seem like it was really relevant, but ultimately it doesn't really matter. It's a means to justify the different shorts. So I didn't mind that. And I guess we'll talk about how this wraps up at the end, because technically it was another part. Even though it was directed by Mike Mendez and everything, it's still like the end was sort of like a different part of this, I feel like, so we can probably just kind of cap that off at the end. But yeah, no, I like this, and Efren Ramirez really carried this, and I thought he was super charismatic, and if it had a lesser actor, this just wouldn't it really, I can think, could have fallen flat.
Yeah, he's got a really good look, a lot better look than when he played Pedro in Napoleon Dynamite, but he's got a presence about him, I mean, and I didn't think of him as being Pedro. I'm like,
no, you wouldn't. I mean, you wouldn't think that at all while watching this.
No. I mean, I could have easily looked it up, but then I didn't want to ruin it, But he's got a presence about him, and you can see the camera loves him. He's got a really good look, and his look fit the character that he was playing. He's got the straight long hair and you could see he's like kind of worn out. He's like exhausted from everything that's been going on, and because you could tell that this is something that he's been dealing with, and just the way he carried himself in the interrogation scenes, and just the inflections in his voice and his body language, and all this other stuff that you're watching him, it just you almost pity him. I mean, that's how good of a performance he's putting on. He's really dynamic in this movie. He's really, really good. And it totally locked me in on the wraparound, because that wraparound was fantastic. It had a story. There was a reason for it. That it played on emotion. It played on violence. It played on trust, and believability, pain, and history. It was just really well done. This entire wraparound was just fantastic.
Raven Shadow, anything else to add to that?
I would agree, and I think he was believable. He's telling these, fantastic, tales, and he's exhibiting all the behavior of somebody that, okay, we've seen the story before, but he was believable. Almost like the werewolf character in Monster Squad. Lock me up, type thing. Like, I'm begging you, don't, let me be free. But he's saying, let me fucking be free, otherwise you're fucked. And against any instinct, you believe this character, even though he's spinning, nonsense.
Yeah. And also just I didn't realize this until I saw the credits, but there is a rest in peace for Sonia Eddy, the actress who played the other detective. So she had passed a year ago, so December 19th, 2022.
Oh wow, a couple days ago.
No, last year.
Well, no, I know, but the anniversary was a couple days ago.
Yes, 2 days ago
As of
was
this
the
recording.
1 year anniversary. Yeah. So, and I will say, I mean, I generally like Greg Grunberg. Like, he's more of I think he works better in sort of a comedic sort of environment where he can be a little silly. I think he was okay in this. I mean, Efren Ramirez totally carried it. So it really doesn't matter who they had like opposite him. I feel like he just completely owned this and did such a great job in it. And it really, like, his performance made you interested in the stories. Like, I feel like it was a great introduction because you're like, oh shit, okay, well, yeah. The way he was like telling it, I'm like, all right, I'm tuned in. I'm interested. Tell me more.
Oh, and spoiler alert, the way he introduced one story, if I can say it, hell yeah, it's a vampire story. The way his fucking his smile went up.
Yeah.
And his like snarkiness, like almost like a Billy Idol level of like snark, you know.
Yeah. So I think we could probably move on to the next one at this point. And so next we will be talking about Tambien Lovi, directed by Damien Rugna. And Damien is the director of the, he did Terrified, and then he also did the flick we did on the show just a couple weeks ago. When Evil Lurks. I almost said Where Evil Lurks. That's why I wanted to look it up. When Evil Lurks. It was this director.
Really?
Yeah. So Damien Rugna, he did the next one, which was the Tambien Lovi, and that was the one with the Rubik's Cube dude, who found this. So we see this character, and he finds this algorithm with his cameras, with his phone's flashlight, where if he does like the right like manipulations with his hands, that he can get like a portal to appear, or like you see it like, and at first you think like, oh, this guy's fucking crazy, because at the beginning I think he's trying it with like the pizza delivery man or something, right? Like he's like, watch,
yeah.
And so the guy's like, no, I don't see anything, man. I'm out of here.
Yeah.
But it turns out that he is like a competitive like Rubik's Cube player, I guess. I don't know like what the best word to use for that is. And so I think it was his sister was telling him like he should go compete and do this, and he's like, I'm not good enough, even though he can do it in like what I think he said like his quickest time was like 18 seconds or something like that.
Yeah.
He says, what's that, MZ?
Yeah, he's like a savant.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
But he said that like it takes him like 18 seconds to solve a Rubik's Cube, whereas some of the best people can solve it like 5 times in 18 seconds, which is just insane to even think about, like someone who can do that. But so yeah, he clearly is like a bit of a savant, and he's smart, he's intelligent, but he also doesn't have a job, and he's living at what I think was his family's house or parents' house that supposedly is haunted, or maybe.
Yeah, it was the family house, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The funny thing, actually, this is not the only short that does this, but there is some sort of like transgressive hatred towards podcasters in this.
Yeah.
And it comes through in this, because like there's a podcaster who comes over to check out like the house to see sort of like the happenings about what's going on. And his sister is like, they're all fakes. All podcasters are fakes. And I'm like, wow, I feel attacked right now.
Yeah. We're a marginalized group.
Well, I mean, I think there's more podcasters in the world than there are like I don't know, like some races of people, you know, like
It's true. It's like ICP fans, podcasters, and everybody else.
well, I mean, no, ICP fans are a lot. That's way lower than podcasters at this point. I mean,
I don't know.
your Nana has a podcast, Raven Shadow. So
She's dead. Which is weird.
Jesus Christ.
Nah,
from beyond the grave.
yeah.
That's the name of it.
Tune in.
That's the name. Yeah. So this. So I'll say about this one. We've already sort of said a lot, but I love the feel of this one. I didn't necessarily love the story or the content.
Yes.
But I loved the dread and the feel of it. And there was some cool stuff that happened. Like later on in it, there was some really cool stuff. But I think that this, I don't know. I just would have liked to seen maybe a little bit more going on, or maybe a little bit of a better through line. But there was even a bit of a touching moment in this too, which I thought was interesting with the podcaster. So I like this one. It wasn't my favorite, but I feel like Damien Rugna, like this guy, there's something about his films. They just have this just overwhelming sense of dread throughout them that I can it feels palpable, you know. And this one was no different. I feel like it was there, even though the payoff I didn't think was great either. Like it was okay, and it was still kind of terrifying from a certain point of view. But I feel like it I don't know. I just feel like you could have done something maybe a little bit more with that concept. But regardless, I liked it. Great sense of dread. Some pretty cool effects in this. Yeah, I mean, this dude is definitely, I think he's a force to be reckoned with. Like, I cannot wait to see his third or fourth film from now, you know, where the fuck is he going to be at then, you know?
Yeah, I agree. This was good, not great. This is the one that I felt that I think could remain a short. I think.
Yeah, I agree. Yep.
I don't think that this would benefit as being a full-length feature.
Unless they expanded on the idea of what he was doing with the light, you know, I feel like that could have been a much greater story, and that's why I feel like having this be a short, I think almost handcuffed it a little bit because you couldn't do too much with it. But I think,
maybe.
Yeah. But in its current form, I agree. I think that this was fine as a short.
Yeah, I agree that the story I felt a little stunted, but it does thrive on its atmosphere and its dread, like you mentioned before. The performances are decent. The violence is a little wonky because there's a little bit more CGI violence as opposed to actual violence. But overall, not bad. The only problem I have with this, the only actual problem I really have with this movie is that it kicks off the anthology. With an anthology, you want to hook people into a really strong story. This one should have been, probably third, second or third.
I think Nahuales might have been the best to kick things off, I think.
Well, I disagree. I gotta remember what Nahuales was. Oh, now I remember what that one was.
That was the one with the informant.
Yeah. No, I remember it now.
Okay.
I would disagree with that.
That's fine.
As far as what the best one was, but
I'm not saying it was the best one necessarily, but I feel like that it brings you right in because there's we'll talk about that one next, but or in 2 from now, but the guy on the phone, it just created this sense of impending doom, and it just got moving right away, you know?
Yeah. And that was great. But again, I wish the story kind of picked up a little bit more.
All right. Raven Chow, how about you?
I'm trying to be quick because we have a lot to talk about and other shorts to discuss, and I really want to discuss the second feature. I agree with you guys. I love what this director does. Visually, this was great. Great tension, great. I am so excited about what this guy does now and forever. But as a short, it came a little short for me. And the things I loved about it, it didn't have the best through line. And this is actually part of my 2 least favorite shorts. And spoiler alert, it's this one and the one that was just mentioned are my 2 least favorite. Even though I like elements of both.
All right. So we can continue on. And next up, we're going to talk about El Vampiro, directed by Eduardo Sanchez. And you may recognize that name because what movie did he direct, MZ?
Co-directed with Edward Miernick of the Blair Witch Project.
Yep. So, I mean, clearly he has a pedigree. And he is a pretty well-known director, especially as it relates to horror, and especially I think he's dabbled a lot in found footage type stuff. But yeah, so he does this one here, El Vampiro, and this one to me actually felt like a bit of a spiritual successor to his short from VHS 2. And that was the one with the zombie on the bike. Do you remember that one?
Vaguely.
There was like a zombie riding a bike with like a GoPro camera or something like that.
Vaguely.
Yeah. So, anyways, it was very reminiscent of that for me. And so let me just pull up. I have to say, I did like the actor in this one. Let me find his name. There's so many people in this cast that it's difficult to track down. Hemke Madera, I think is that the right guy? Yeah, I think that's it. Hemke Madera. Yeah, he played El Vampiro, and so this one was very different from the first one. This one was very silly, and it was almost like a night in the life of story, which I always kind of like those kind of stories. And this one, I have to say, it took me a while to kind of get behind this one, because it was a drastic shift from the tone of the previous one. So all of a sudden we're going to from this very serious short to a very silly one. So the tonal shift for me was difficult to sort of follow. And I was like, ooh, this is just too ridiculous. Like, it took me a little bit to kind of get the cut of its jib, so to speak. But once he met the clowns, I kind of was on board after that. Like, the whole scene leading up to that, I was kind of like, I don't know about this one. Because the basic premise is we have El Vampiro. He's out for a night on the town. He's bleeding a whole fucking club dry. And then
it's Halloween night. It's Halloween.
Yeah. And he gets a call from his, he's the master, like, in terms of, like, he turned her, right, but she didn't really want it. And it's sort of like, you get the sense that it's almost like this, sort of like,
he's an aging Lestat and she's Louis.
Yeah, because he's like 500 years old. And
yeah, she's like 190 or something. Or
Interview the Vampire, like he's the maker, and then she's his,
underling.
I'm giving you I'm giving you the choice that I never had.
Yeah, and so he likes when she calls him master, but she doesn't like that, So, but anyways, so she says to him, she's like, "Where are you?" He's like, "Oh, I'm in the city or whatever." She's like, "You do know it's daylight savings, right?" He's like, yeah, I know. We move the clock back. And she's like, no, we're moving it forward or whatever. And then he's like, oh shit. So he has to get back before sundown. And he is, all these wacky hijinks ensue. Like he meets these clowns, and what happens to the clowns is pretty fucking hilarious. And then the cops find him, and it's just like one thing after another. And I have seen people mention What We Do in the Shadows as sort of like the tone, but I have to say no. I've say the no to that, because this is not even on the same level as What We Do in the Shadows. Like, no offense to this short, but it's just not on the same level, and it's something different. It is wacky and it is silly, but I wouldn't put it in that same sentence as What We Do in the Shadows. Not to say that this wasn't fun, it was, but I don't know. Like, I feel like that's misguided to put in the same sentence. But ultimately, I ended up having fun with this one. It started off a little rough for me because I had trouble finding the right tone and like sort of identifying with this. And then when I finally got it, I was along for the ride. And then with the end, I just thought the end was just a little bit too silly. Like, yeah, I mean, it fit the tone, but I was like, really? Like, that's what you're going to do? You have all these other options, and that's what you're going to do? Like, I don't know. Like, and I feel like they gave up too easily. Like, I feel like if you're in that situation, you can rig something to save yourself. So, anyways, that's all I'll say about it. So you guys can go ahead.
I totally disagree.
Okay.
This was the best.
Oh, wow.
In the film. I thought I had such a great time with this. After the first film, which left me feeling wanting more, I was totally fulfilled with this short. It was funny. Vampiro is ultimately a charismatic character and hilariously funny. He's got great comic timing. When I was watching this one, I was thinking of When Only Lovers Left Alive.
Yes.
And how when, because they're vampires, they're tired of their life. This vampire, he's not tired of his life. He's just tired of the rules that are surrounding his life. So the whole what is it, the daylight savings time thing and a few other things that were mentioned in what Vampiro goes through is just absolutely hilarious. He's dealing with his servant, I guess you could call her, and it's just his mannerisms, his body language, and how he's talking, and he's trying to get by with. I love how he tries to get by with thinking that what he's doing is fake by just going blah blah.
I'm about to suck your balls.
I was dying with this guy, and his sense of powers with the cops and he's holding on to a head. He's holding on to a severed head, which which is, if you were paying attention about how funny that was. He's holding on to a severed head with a clown wig on it, and he's holding it by the clown wig. So why isn't the head falling out? But he's doing this, and then the other cop has his gun raised to him, so he does this, and the cop who's just out, he comes to, aims his gun to him, and does this. He keeps going back and forth, back and forth. Oh, it was just so funny, and just the way he carried himself. I mean, and he's probably the fattest vampire I've seen since Lon Chaney Jr. in The Son of Dracula. If you want to see a big fat Dracula movie, go check out The Son of Dracula. He is just, because it has Lon Chaney Jr. in it, and he's just bulbous. But this guy's hysterically funny, and he had such great comic timing, and just the gore and the violence that was around. It was over the top hilarity. I just loved the way this whole thing played out from beginning to end. As soon as there's a scene where he finds out he's got a little blood on his white shirt, and he whips out the bleach stick or whatever it was, and he's just like. As far as the ending goes, yeah, they could have gone a whole bunch of different routes with this, but at the same time, if they did,
I mean, it fit the tone.
Shorter.
It fit the tone too. Like, I'm not going to say it didn't fit the tone, but I feel like it just was like, I don't know, like that was just a bad idea. Bad idea to go hide there.
Yeah, but at the same time, what choice did they have? I mean, they
any
added
other
a whole bunch of other places,
yeah.
But I mean, if they were just going to start doing that, they probably had a time limit on these things. But
I think it would have been funnier, and hopefully this isn't giving much away, but when the dude came out to put to put the thing in it, like if that's what did them in, I just think like, oh, we're gonna make it, and then that dude comes and dumps the trash at the end of the day, and that was it. Like, I feel like that would have been maybe a little bit more funny than the way it happened.
Fucking Halloween.
Actually, yeah, that's fair.
I just got a huge kick out of this, and a huge departure from the first short, and that's what made this one so much better, because the first one was a bit of a letdown. Still good, but a bit of a letdown. This one was completely on the opposite end of that.
How about you, Raven Shadow? How about you?
Yeah, I gotta say, aside from the wraparound, my next favorite part of this anthology was the short. I watching it, I couldn't help but think of What We Do in the Shadows. Is it on the same comedic level? I don't think so, but I think you have to acknowledge that. That at least that's the elevator pitch. If you were going to spin, it's what someone's going to recognize going into this one. Not that it's the same level. And I did kind of get a little sense of What We Do in the Shadows, not like to like comparison. I did have fun with it. I liked that it was his favorite shirt. I liked that there were blood shot glasses. And I don't think we've seen that before, or at least I can't recall seeing that, doing shots of blood. I was waiting for a character that was still a survivor to have an impact later on. But overall, I did have a lot of fun with this one. And this is my favorite short aside from the wraparound.
All right. So let's continue on. And so the next one we will talk about. And yeah, okay. I sorry. I thought I forgot to mention the director, but now that was Eduardo Sanchez, as we talked about. So the next one is Nahuales, directed by Gigi Saul Guerrero. And this one here is I'm trying to think of the best way to describe this. This didn't have a lot of, it was a very basic premise where this one guy kind of escaped or ran, like, I don't know if he escaped or ran away from this tribe and was an informant for like a CIA agent or someone, like some American agent. I don't remember if it was CIA or something like that. But he was an informant, and he was going to deliver like some information about it to him. And so the guy asks, like, "What, did anyone see you?" And then he's like, he looks around and he's like, "No." And like, of course, like, someone sees him. And then so they take him back to the tribe where they see the mother. Like, I don't know, like, what the character's name was. Let me see if we can find out, actually. So we had it's just It's just Madre Tierra.
Mother Earth?
Mother Earth, yeah. And so this was very much like sort of like more of like an indigenous magic tribe. And it says here, the thing I'm looking at says it was an ancient Mesoamerican magic. And there was some interesting stuff going on with like some shape-shifting to a degree. Or
way
at
better
least,
than Skinwalkers, I'll tell you that much.
well, I mean, anything is. And so this is also Gigi Saul Guerrero also did the earthquake short from the VHS 85, which actually was kind of similar, like in a sense where it had this whole setup and then it led to sort of like this ancient sort of tribal evil, you know? So in a sense, I think I wouldn't be mad if that was her gimmick, you know, if she started doing some stuff like where we get to see some sort of like this, indigenous magic, and whether it's, I don't know a lot about like indigenous magic to like Spanish speaking countries. I don't know a lot about it, but you know, a lot of it is based in like kind of earth magic, but very sort of tribal and ritualistic, and deals with like sacrifice and things like that, it seems like. So that kind of gives you an idea of where this heads. And I think that while this is a very basic premise, I feel like the tension that built in this was really good. And at the end, we got some really pretty decent gore. Yes. So it pretty simple. I don't think this would be my favorite. I'm actually not sure what my favorite is yet. I might have to wait till the end, but I thought this one was pretty good. And I did enjoy this one, and I thought that it had a nice flow to it. It didn't outstay its welcome, and I thought the ending was really solid.
Yeah, I thought at first the guy who is the guy that we're introduced to first, judging from the phone call that he was taking, I thought he was like, what would be the word? Like, I guess on loan from the United States government or maybe the Mexican government, because they mentioned about he was talking to somebody from the U.S. government.
Yeah, he was like a CIA agent or something like that, and he was an informant to give them information. Right.
Yeah, and like he would be given like clemency or something to that effect if he was able to pull through what he was supposed to be doing here.
Yeah.
The whole Mother Earth thing is an interesting one and a good one. I liked where this was going. Because it was intriguing. It was different. It basing itself somewhat on a type of voodoo.
Jeez. Someone turn the lights
out. Yeah, I know. Based on some kind of a voodoo ritualistic thing that's going on. I don't know what the term would be, but it was interesting.
Yeah, just like some sort of indigenous magic.
Yeah. I wish there was more to it. You know, I'd like to see a full feature on this myself. Maybe. I know. I know.
I hope that doesn't happen during the game show. What did I say? Wow.
Technical difficulties.
Yeah. So, Raven Chat, what did you think about this one?
Yeah.
I liked the sense of urgency that was going on. It was very kinetic pace in this short, you know, where he's calling, you know, his contacts and they give him instructions and he's not, you know, wanting to do that. And then when the tribe shows up, things take a turn for the worse. So there was some good stuff there. I liked how they all got their like Arnold Schwarzenegger Predator covered in mud gimmick going on. And I like the fact that he didn't quite go quiet into the night. I liked him yelling, like
yeah.
I would think if you're stuck in a ritual, do your best to like fuck up the ritual, right? Like, and that's how I was like, don't be complacent, dude. Don't just fucking go, I guess I'm a fucking sacrifice. Like, I'm not the biggest man in any world or any room, but like, you gotta like.
Not even in your own room.
Not in this one. It's just me here. But, fuck up the ritual as much as you can and see what happens.
There you go. Did you have any
kids?
Did you have anything else to add to this, MZ?
I this would benefit from a larger story.
Yeah.
There's a lot.
I agree.
There's a lot to say here, and I think it would benefit from a larger story, from a full-length feature.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I think
because I'd like to know the background of Mother Earth, and she was great, by the way. She was believable.
Yeah, she
was.
Yep.
And
great
she's
visual,
and she's got this slimy shit going on with her, and let me just say also that, and we haven't brought this up yet, the practical effects here are very, very good.
Yes. Yeah, they are.
On all these stories, all the practical effects here are really, really good. I wish I paid more attention to who did the effects, because I like to see them do more stuff, because they were really good, and the effects here were good.
Yeah, I feel like this is a better Green Inferno.
Right? I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah.
I was thinking the same thing.
Whatever the runtime is, 15, 20 minutes, I'm not even sure, but I feel like it achieved more and was more effective than Green Inferno.
And less masturbation and poop.
Yeah. But yeah, I think this is a good one. It's a solid entry. And I think it was I actually liked, now that we've sort of talked about it, I like that this came after El Vampiro, because I feel like you needed to kind of break up this one and the next one in, have something a little bit more dire and serious. So yeah, I'm hoping Gigi Saul Guerrero gets another feature soon, because I'd like to see her explore some of the stuff that she's tackled in this and in VHS 85. And let me see, what was her last film? So short. She did a movie called Trap House in 2023. Oh no, I'm sorry. I'm looking at actress. She was in that. Let me look at director. So, Bingo Hell? Is that?
Yes.
Oh, I've heard of that.
Yeah, apparently she did Bingo Hell, which is a feature she did a couple years ago. Yeah, but I don't know. Like, I feel like her short work is really, really pretty interesting, and I'd like to see her do a full feature based on some of that stuff. So, yeah, we'll see. But yeah, I dug this, and I dug her entry in VHS 85 as well. All right, let's move on. And next we're going to talk about The Hammer of Zanzibar, directed by Alejandro Brugues. And this one, certainly interesting. This one had was a little silly, but it was more of a punchline than it was anything else. Like, you don't even get to see the episode title until like later on.
And it's done in a very, very Robert Rodriguez style.
Yeah. So
complete with the soundtrack of the one lone trumpet.
Yeah.
And it's set up I just love that.
It was good. I mean, I really like the music in this short. So this one is it's about this dude who meets his ex in their old favorite restaurant, and there's something a little off. He already sort of like alludes to that there's something a little bit off about this meeting, and it turns out that I guess they went and I can't remember where they were now. I mean, it must have been Zanzibar or I don't know, something like that. But
Cuba.
It was Cuba. That's right. You're right. Because I do know Alejandro Brugues is, I think, Argentinian and Cuban. So that makes sense. And there was a joke about Cubans in this as well. So I think he's poking a little fun there. But yeah, so this one, it's interesting setup. Guy meeting his ex in a restaurant. And then as things advance and they're talking, things aren't quite as they seem. And he knows that something was up about this whole thing, and he was prepared for it. So I guess that's all I can say. I don't want to say too much about this because this short really sort of does a good job of protecting the punchline, and I don't want to reveal it for those who haven't seen it. But I think that it did a good job of kind of building upon this narrative that it started. And then when he and his buddy, I can't remember his buddy's name, but when he and his buddy go to that store, oh my God, that's when things really get out of hand.
Jesus.
Was it Jesus?
Jesus.
Oh, okay. So yeah, when they go to the store to see that guy, and he starts telling him about about like the demon, or like I don't remember what it was, like the devil or something like that would visit him.
Yeah,
night after night after night.
And I think that actor was the dude that was in Friday 3 or Friday After Next, and he had the pit bulls, I think.
Maybe.
Oh, by the way, MZ, it was Miguel was his friend, not Jose.
Yeah, no, yeah.
Oh, Miguel? Okay.
Yeah. So Malcolm and Miguel, and then so they go see El Jefe, and he was the owner of that store.
Oddity, weirdness, like magic shop. Like basically, if the Warrens, the cinematic Warrens had a store, it would be that.
Yeah, pretty much. Just all these sort of like oddities and weird things. Yeah.
And how the demon would visit him every day.
And they would take him behind and inject his magic into him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just a little homoerotic, but
oh, hey,
it gets the point across.
Let's leave that for people to figure out on their own.
For the next 9 nights, like you conjure the demon every night.
And as we lie in bed together, he whispers in my ear. But he's saying it.
Yeah, the delivery.
He's totally playing it straight.
Yeah.
So you believe him.
Raven Shadow, that dude El Jefe, he was also in Traffic. But you're right, he was in the movie Next Friday. He played the character Joker.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, Traffic with Michael Douglas and 70s Show and Benicio.
70s Show.
Wasn't that also with Don Cheadle?
The great Don Cheadle, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yeah.
So yeah.
I have a Traffic poster your brother gave me.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's killer.
So this one, I feel like it's difficult to talk about. This one definitely has a bit of, like, I would say, Evil Dead 2 DNA.
Yes.
To it, without saying too much about it. And I think it hinges on the punchline. If you don't like the punchline, if you think it's silly, you're not going to get it. But if you do, I think you could really identify with this one. And So the dude who played the main character in this, Jonah Ray, I guess he was on Mystery Science Theater 3000 from 2017 to 2022.
Yes, he did. I
So-
thought he was familiar, son of a bitch.
Yeah, I didn't
Lost a little bit of weight.
I didn't see it in that era. So
It was
Same. Like I was a Joel guy. You know, I started kind of tuning out when Mike Nelson came in. I watched a couple. But yeah, I did hear that he was in the newer MST3K, but he had a very Colin Hanks vibe to me.
yeah.
And that's not a dig. I like Colin Hanks.
Well, somebody has to.
Oh, he was also in Christmas Bloody Christmas. We did that last year. He played a character named Jay. I think that was the one who worked in the record store.
Oh, the long hair.
I think so.
Yeah, that. Yeah,
I don't. Actually, I don't remember now, but I think that might have been him.
It's funny. I liked the more serious aspect of the story before. The ridiculous aspect was fun, but I liked the conversation. And I loved how the conversation, like the reveal, if you will.
Yep. Yeah, in this one, tonally, it's a lot different from the previous one, but it is similar in some sense to El Vampiro, but just in a different way. Like this is more about sort of like the build to a punchline, whereas the other one was just kind of silly throughout. But I did like the end of this though. I thought like after the reveal, it was a little sophomoric, yes, but it was, I laughed and then I enjoyed what happened afterwards.
Oh, for sure. And they definitely, the Evil Dead, they leaned into it. They even had a I'll swallow your soul redux.
Yep.
That's fine.
Yeah, sure. Why not?
Yeah.
I enjoyed the hell out of this one myself. The big reveal of what the Hammer of Zanzibar is hysterically funny. It leads to questions as to why, but do you really ultimately care? No, I didn't. Because it was played on pure humor and not, being totally serious. When it comes to mythical objects to destroy, unwanted demons or things of that nature, you got to ask yourself, why is it shaped like this? Why is it shaped like that? What is the point of this part of the item that you're using to fight the demons? What is the purpose of that? So, but when you see this come out being what it is, you seriously have to question it. But then again, at the same time, do you really care? Because you're just having so much fun with it. For instance, if this was played completely serious, okay, 100% serious, like the two other stories that we talked about just now, and then they came out with this, then it would have been ridiculous. Then it would have been, it would have been stupid. It wouldn't have made any sense. Here, because it's played up for laughs, though there is a serious element involved here, you still accept it because it is meant to be funny. You dig?
Yep, I dig. So I think we should probably keep going because this one, I don't want to talk too much about the reveal, the punchline, but it's either going to work or it's not. And for me, I thought that it worked.
Great weapon effects.
Dr. Chris popped in the chat. He says,
"Oh shit!
Merry Christmas! It's a great film. I loved it."
Mm.
There you go. Glad you dug it, Dr. Chris. All right, and Then the final one is really we go back to the wraparound, but it almost gave it like a different name. What was it like? I forget what it was now. It was basically like that dude was like that was coming for the Traveler was like that reminded me so much of like the Saint of Killers Raven Shadow, right?
100%.
Yeah.
100% was the Saint of Killers.
Yeah.
It was the Saint of Killers. It was like almost like the Sith of Killers.
Right.
Because it had some of that, but yeah, the Saint 100%. Goth Ennis gonna sue somebody.
So we finally in the end of the wraparound here. So we've already talked about the wraparound, but in the end we have I don't remember the character's name now, but the character who is coming after the Traveler shows up, and he had a really cool look to him. Like first of all, like he had a look where like he had like that sort of like hooded collar that goes up so you can't really see his ears or his neck. It's like covered, and there's like sort of just like the face is open. He's wearing a hat and long coat, and then he's getting shot, and he's basically controlling cops and like making them shoot each other and kill themselves. And it's just a fucking massacre in this one scene in the police station. And then
good effects too.
Yeah, definitely. And then he starts getting pieces of him shot off, and then it reveals this other character that looks fucking awesome, like sort of like almost like an Aztec god kind of like look,
Yeah. The exposed rib cage.
Yeah.
Just the skull.
It looked like it could have been something, and this certainly isn't a bad thing to say, but it looks like it could have been something from a Guillermo del Toro picture,
Yep. Yeah. It was that
That's a compliment.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, his designs are fucking phenomenal. But yeah, no, I thought this was cool. I like the way this ended, and then we had like the whole like once again sort of like actually let me back up real quick. I think another element of this, I feel like a lot of the shorts, in a way, I'm trying to think if they all foreshadowed something that happened in the end. Like there's different. So there's like a weapon, right? There's like a weapon that's being used. There is, there's like sort of like one of the powers that the vampire use, like the was it like when they control, to control others. Like we saw that being used in the finale. I'm just trying to, now that I think about it, was there something from everything? Because we also had like almost like the like Mother Earth character, like this, this character looked sort of similar. Like it could have been from like the similar, sort of like magic, like school of magic or something,
Well, I took it like I'm gonna call him Pedro. What's his name again?
Efren Ramirez.
No, the character's name.
Oh, the Traveler.
I think there's more stories to the Traveler. And when they opened up his little prize pack, there were a lot of icons there. And some icons were to his past. Some may have been relevant to the story. And some may be relevant to other stories. Like he came off to me like a Kolchak or a Constantine or a character, an Ash, Ash versus the Evil Dead kind of gimmick. Like he's somebody that lives this life. He's living the supernatural life.
But
living La Vida Longo.
This is the one area where I felt like it kind of faltered just a little bit, is when they brought out those little trinkets that he's collected over time. I kind of wish that they kind of revealed like, okay, what's this all about? And then that would kind of create one of the stories. Okay, well, what's this about? well, that would create another story. And they didn't do that until like maybe the third story. And I kind of wish they did that with the first two, you know, because I think the little trinkets that this guy collected over time would have served as a great catalyst for each story rather than just telling a story.
Yeah.
I just feel it's like a missed opportunity on that one.
Yeah. I mean, I think that ultimately, I think that would have been more interesting than like, oh, you remember that, you guys have an unsolved cases where people were drained of blood. Yeah, right. I know who that was, it's kind of interesting, but yes, I agree that maybe talking about the trinkets and where they came from would have been more interesting. And maybe if he was sort of like a Constantine type character where he dabbles in magic and supernatural and has all this information about these characters and these trinkets.
But that's even better though. That way you're just not holding on to a trinket gimmick. You're giving it to his experiences. So maybe the stories we see are either referencing a past crime or it's his trinkets. And I think, like, imagine if Constantine wasn't a crypt keeper type role, that could be interesting. And that's why I think the Traveler character, there's a lot to be done with him in the future.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw this come back and see a Satanic Hispanics 2.
I'm down for that.
Anything to give, like more Latino directors an opportunity to showcase their work, I think is great. There's clearly a lot of really talented Latino filmmakers out there, and I'm sure that they could do several more of these. And yeah, I think it would be more interesting to have a wraparound where they're sort of tied together, So yeah, it is a character, and maybe he tells these stories, and ultimately though, I mean, I think that the end worked. I like the wraparound. I think it got a little, like, the beginning of some of the stories was a little hokey. Like, really? Like I think actually, like, the weakest one was, I think, the vampire, because he's like, oh yeah, I remember those. You guys have unsolved mysteries with unsolved crimes with people with blood drained. Yeah, I knew who that was. It was this guy, and then he starts telling this one particular story. Like, why pick that one? Why not pick? I don't know. Like, it's just, why not just pick something else? But on the other hand, I do appreciate that they did tie all these together in a way that made sense, as opposed to, like, the VHS films are by and large fun, but it's like, oh, well, there's just this VHS that's here. Like, the first couple were just like, like these VHS movies that were found, whether they were like snuff films or whatever, like, so I feel like this actually has a better narrative through line, but I feel like they could have maybe tied it together a little bit better. There would have been an opportunity, but ultimately, for a horror anthology, is that really all that important? Not really. It's just sort of a segue, right? It's just like when we're having a conversation and someone says, I don't know, like they said something about bottoms, and then you think of, like, oh, fat bottom girl, and you start talking about how much you like that song or something, like, whatever, like almost like a segue that leads to another thought.
Yeah.
I feel like that's sort of
both.
I feel like that's kind of what it was just, just to kind of get you in. We'll spin a quick little yarn about this character and then tell you the story that the director had written up, or the writers had written. So it does knit it together better than a lot of other horror anthologies, but I still feel that there is room for improvement if they do a sequel or, additional sequels.
Sure.
But all right, well, let's do the verdict, and then we'll talk about our favorites. Give your favorite when we do the verdict, and then we'll wrap this one up.
Trick or treat, baby.
I wonder if people would say you're a trick or a treat.
Trick or treat, motherfucker.
All right. Verdict time. We're going to let you know whether Satanic Hispanics was a trick or a treat. And any final thoughts? Let's kick it on over to Monster Zero.
Yeah, not only is this one of the best anthologies I've ever seen in a long time, probably since Southbound, this is one of the best movies of the year. It does have its faults, but they pale in comparison to the pluses that you're going to get out of this movie. The shorts range from good to fantastic. The wraparound has a purpose. There's a reason behind it, and itself has a story. And that's hard to find nowadays. You bring up the VHS series, and my opinion of the VHS series is very, very low. I'm not the biggest fan of it. It sounds like it should be a winner, and it very rarely, if ever, is. In fact, the film that we reviewed earlier this year, was 85, I thought was the best VHS movie that they've done so far. Now, I don't know if that's going to make my top 13, but it's definitely the best one that they've put out. But it's not better than this. This is miles better. And it's well acted. It's got good gore. It's got good atmosphere. It goes from serious to comedy, and so it's spaced out nice. The stories are interesting. They're never boring. And I just enjoyed this one. This was so much fun to watch. I just had a ball watching this. This is a big time treat for me.
All right, Raven Shadow.
Yeah, I mean, I came first.
Whoa. Is that like Han shot first?
Yeah, when it comes to saying my favorite and least favorite from the jump, as far as anthologies go, I think the worst one of this could be the best one of some other anthologies. I think this was definitely a treat. I am looking forward to what everybody involved in this picture does next. And I think it's a few examples where, for my money and my interpretation, the wraparound was the real story. And the segments were enhancements. So big ups to vote for Pedro, I guess. Big ups to Traveler and vote for Pedro, because I like that dude. Treat.
All right. For me, also a treat. There was you guys did you give your favorites? MZ, I think you already said what your favorite was, right? El Vampiro.
Vampiro was my favorite.
All right.
Vampiro, then the Hammer of Zanzibar.
All right.
Then
You don't have to go through all of them. It's just the favorite.
Whatever.
How about you, Raven Channel?
Same for me. It's a wraparound, Vampiro, and the Hand That Rocks the Dreidel, or whatever it was.
Jesus. All right. So yeah, for me, treat. There wasn't any that I disliked. I had varying sort of feelings about them, but I didn't dislike any, and that's saying something for a horror anthology, especially for us. Like on the show, like I feel like almost every horror anthology has had a weak, like a weak spot, like clear weak spot, and
sometimes more than one.
Well, yeah. And this one, I don't think had a clear weak spot. I think that overall, it was solid. It's a solid effort all around. And I really like all these directors, and I hope that we get to see them do more. I'd especially really like to see Gigi Saul Guerrero get a budget and get to do like maybe an expanded version of one of these shorts, like from this, or maybe the one she did with VHS 85. Either way, like I think it would be interesting to explore like this sort of like indigenous magic cult or ritualistic, whatever. I think it would be really interesting to explore, and I think clearly she must have a an interest in it if she's done that a couple times now. So yeah, I don't know what my favorite is. I still am struggling. Like, I feel like The Hammer of Zanzibar, it was just because it was so reliant on that punchline. I feel like that it's not going to work for a lot of people, but ultimately that I like the tone of that one the best. Like it did serious well when it needed to. It did silly well when it needed to. And it did gore and action when it needed to as well. So I think that's the most well-rounded. Now, favorite, I don't know. It's funny because it wasn't my favorite short, but I really enjoyed Damien Rugna's the Rubik's Cube one, mostly because of the way it looked and the way it felt. There was just something about that. I love that director. So yeah, I guess I'm going to be on the fence. I'll say Hammer of Zanzibar just because overall I think it hit the right tone. So I'll go with that one. Even though I could say, one or two others, like I really liked Gigi Saul Guerrero's and also really enjoyed Damien Rugna's. So yeah, that's it for me. Treat. So there you have it. Our thoughts on Satanic Hispanics. Seems like it was pretty positive overall. And I'm seeing a lot of positive stuff out there from other folks. So it seems like they really hit a home run with this one. And I would imagine we'll probably see another one because this one's getting some pretty good praise.
One can only hope. What I'd like to see is them do a second one and then have them do a continuation of one or a couple or maybe all of the movies of the shorts that we saw. That would be interesting. That would be original.
Yeah. Yeah, it would be. It'd be cool. So, all right. Well, there you have it. That's our thoughts on Satanic Hispanics. And let me see. Is this... I don't know if this is streaming... streaming anywhere? I'm not sure. But Denny says, can't wait to see you guys tomorrow night. Should be interesting. Yes. Should be interesting. That is the key word. Should. Let me see if I can find out if Satanic Hispanics is streaming anywhere. I'll look for that in a sec. But next up, we're going to just dive right into our next film discussion. And we will be talking about the film Devils. And so let me see here. I actually just pulled up Satanic Hispanics is not streaming anywhere, but it's available for VOD from Apple TV, Amazon, Vudu, Microsoft, Spectrum, Google Play, YouTube. Yeah, so it's out there for VOD. I don't know if this is going to appear anywhere for streaming, but there you go. So give it a look. All right, let's talk about Devils. So this one is currently streaming exclusively on Screambox. It's funny, I think we've done a Screambox film every single week this month. So yeah, so they've got some good stuff going on there. So we're going to talk about Devils from 2023. It is 1 hour 45 minutes, and it is written and directed by Kim Jae-hoon. And it is a crime thriller that stars Jang Dong-yoon, Choi Gui-hwa, and Jang Jae-ho. And I think Jang Jae-ho was in... Let me see. Was he the character I'm thinking of? Nope, not him. It must have been the other guy. Yeah, okay, so Jang Dong-yoon, he played Jin Hyuk, the sort of young detective who, doesn't make it through to the end. He was the young detective that got put in harm's way at some point. But he was also in the film Project Wolf Hunting, which we did earlier this year. I think he was, if I'm not mistaken, I think he was like the main good guy. But yeah, I think he was. I think he was one of the main characters, anyways, in Project Wolf Hunting. So, and the synopsis for this film: a determined homicide detective assigned to take down a ring of serial killers who has a personal motivation, as one of the victims is his own brother-in-law. Let me just take a quick look at. Oh yeah, so the director Kim Jae-hoon, this is his first film, so no other filmography to speak of. This is his very first his directorial debut. And all right, let's dive in, because oh, the figures. I was gonna cut to Raven Shadow. He's not fucking there. So
should have known.
Yeah. So anyways, Raven Shadow was watching this last night, and oh, here he is. Okay, hold on.
Here.
I went to call on you, Raven Shadow. You just weren't fucking there. You're just gone.
I'm sorry. I didn't.
No
I didn't help
words.
Ollie.
So last night we got a yo text from Raven Shadow, and I'm pretty sure it was this movie, right?
It was fucking this movie,
Okay.
Johnny.
I haven't gotten a yo from you in a while, so I'm curious. But this film here, it's interesting. It's hard to actually explain. I don't fully know what was going on at that like chop shop. Like they were killing people and filming it, and so the cops were sort of like trying to track down this like ring of like murders and track down this sort of young, I don't know if they were like a gang, but this young dude, and he's like cutting up bodies, and there was some really interesting sort of like face paint going on in the beginning. Like this had a really cool intro, and I really liked the lights and just the different makeup that they had. It just looked really interesting. And then one of the cops gets killed, and it's a brother-in-law. It's the brother-in-law of the main character. Right. So he sort of has a vendetta now, and he wants to get this Ming Seong. He wants to get that character. So, I'm trying to explain how this works, because there's some stuff that I don't want to give away, but it turns into sort of like a body swap sort of story, like a, like Face Off meets Freaky Friday is how it's built.
Thank you. Yeah.
And there's some more to it. I don't want to say too much more, and I don't want to give away any major plot details. But what we get is kind of like a hard-boiled sort of like seedy exploration of this underground culture of like almost like snuff films or something. Like you don't really see them, thankfully. So they didn't need snuff organizers, Raven Shadow, unfortunately, for us.
Well, if they did, I know two guys that'd be really good at the job.
So, yeah, that's the basic premise. And then so we have what is the character's name here? Let me just see. Choi Hua. And so he was I think that was, if I'm not mistaken, I think that was the main cop, the main star of this. And so he was trying to get revenge and to get back at this killer. But like this killer, like it almost seemed like he had like some supernatural elements to him. Right?
It's true. Like in the opening scene, it's almost like that gang in Batman Forever that Robin comes across, that glow in the dark, like the face paint game gimmick.
Yes.
And and our main hero cop, who's kind of like, this is South Korean?
South Korean, yeah.
Okay. He was like the South Korean Duke, but looked kind of like the guy that playing Shang Tsung in the first Mortal Kombat movie. Kind of vibe to him. And he's running against the young, snuff lord who at least from a New England perspective, he reminded me of like the South Korean version of a certain fuck that did some fucked up things in Boston a couple of years ago.
You're talking about the marathon.
Yeah. He had that look to him. I'm not sure if that was intentional or not, but that's the vibe that I'd got.
I mean, I don't think so. Yeah, I don't think so.
I don't think it was.
Yeah, I don't think in South Korea they would even know that dude.
I seriously doubt I seriously doubt that they were thinking the Boston Marathon bomber when they created this character. I seriously doubt it.
But he looked like that kind of fucking fuck.
Well, he was youthful. He had a moppet of hair, rather unkempt. So I mean, I could see where you're going with it, but I seriously doubt it has anything to do with.
True. It's just like it's like from a New England perspective, that's what came to my mind. And when our hero cop tackles them, then the story takes a change. And they fall off a cliff.
Yeah, and then they disappear for like a month, and then reappear in like a car accident, like like a month later or whatever it was, and so they both get taken into the hospital, and then we have the guy who is the killer is now saying that he is the cop, meaning they had like a Freaky Friday situation, and so then the younger cop, Jin Hyuk, he sort of like is kind of believes him and isn't quite sure, and he's sort of like, I don't know, like, is this possible? Like, is there such a thing?
Well, he's dropping clues as to, and the thing is, and you don't see this happen too all that often, is that in films like this, is that they're already, let me put it to you this way. It's probably be easier if I put it this way. When they're in, like, say, step 7 or step 8 in, say, a movie like Freaky Friday or Face Off or whatever, they're already on their step 8 is this movie's step 2. So they're like way ahead of the game as far as trying to figure out how to make other people be convinced that who they are is who they really say they are.
Mm-hmm.
So it leaves a whole lot of room for more interesting storytelling, because you still got about another, I don't know, say an hour left to go rather than another 20 minutes to go.
Yeah.
In a film that's like this, but the characters here are far ahead of the game in this situation, so it makes it more interesting.
Oh, 100%. I mean, so much happens in the first like 30 minutes of this picture, and I'm someone who I adore Face Off.
I know.
I do.
As soon as I saw this, I was like, oh man, like maybe we should do this one for Raven Shadow.
I think Face Off is a masterpiece. Is it absurd as fucked? Yes. It's fucking batshit crazy, and doesn't hold up to scrutiny at all. Is it awesome? Yes. I think this movie does that so much more believable. And even when there are things that are callbacks later on in dialogue, like the way the hero cop and his young protege go into action together. They have certain like catchphrases they say.
Yeah.
Like, stay. It's much more. It's a better phrase, but like essentially, we go in first, stay behind me. Or the way he's like, fix your gun strap.
Yeah. Because he's purposefully fucking it up.
Yeah.
Because he so to see if his partner notices it, and he doesn't notice it, says nothing, and so that just adds more fuel to the fire that what the Snuff Lord is saying is actually true. I'm not even gonna try to pronounce his name. That's why I'm going with Snuff Lord.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's fair.
Yeah, and there's some stuff I wish we could talk about here, because what you just said, that they do this in a more realistic way. Like, you take Face Off, right? Like, can you face swap with somebody else? No. Like, we don't have that technology right now, as far as we know. But
and definitely not in 1997.
Right. But in this, the without giving too much away, the way they tackle the sort of concept of this is really interesting and more grounded in reality without giving anything else away. And I thought it was like, the reveal of that was like, that's kind of cool. Like, good.
That might have been the yo.
Oh, okay. I was wondering what the yo was. That would be.
I'm not sure. There was so many yo moments. Like, you almost got like 4 yos. I'll be honest with you.
Raven Shadow's yo moment.
One yo will suffice.
Yeah, but I was along for the fucking ride, and there was some fucking tension. Like,
oh yeah.
Like, why am I handcuffed? What the fuck? And when the fucking dude comes in, he's like, "Oh yeah, by the way, I'm gonna go home to your wife and daughter," and he says these fucking diabolical fucking things.
Yeah, what he's gonna do to try and to keep him quiet, you know.
And this is why you're gonna do what I'm gonna fucking tell you to do.
Yep.
And he gives him the fucking tape recorder.
Yeah. I mean, my heart started to sink when he was just walking through that front door for the first time. My heart sunk.
Oh yeah.
It was like, oh shit, now this shit's gonna go down. Some heavy stuff is gonna happen.
And I'm like, this is fucking South Korea. What the fuck are they gonna fucking do? I'm saying they go all in. You know, this ain't fucking, Lifetime's, 28 Days of Christmas or whatever the fuck.
This, I will say, there was an element of this, without giving much away, it reminded me a little bit of Old Boy. MZ, you on board with that? Like, just, I guess, in the way that one of the characters plays the long game, I guess. Like, there is something about it that I'm not going to compare it and say it's not as good as Old Boy. Old Boy is like a fucking masterpiece, but this, I feel like there's an element of this. I don't want to say what it is, like, but it has to do with the Freaky Friday sort of element of this, and it just, I was kind of thinking a little bit of some of the stuff that happened in Old Boy, but. Yeah, I mean that's pretty good company just to even put it in the same sentence as a fucking masterpiece like Old Boy.
I don't know if I would do that. I mean, that's my opinion.
Sure.
Old Boy. I mean, Old Boy is one of my personal favorites.
Oh,
it's on my top. It's my top 10 list.
It's incredible. Yeah.
Old Boy.
I fucking love Old Boy. Love that movie.
You're talking about the remake. You're talking about the remake, right?
Yeah, of course. The Spike Lee joint,
Button your fly, Monster Zero.
Yeah. No, I could see where the long game is being played here. I could see that element of it being passed off to Old Boy, but it could be passed off to other films too. And not just Old Boy. I wouldn't single Old Boy out on something like that.
I guess in the way there was, I mean, they're both South Korean films, but yeah, that's fine. In no way am I saying that this is anywhere as good as Old Boy, but
yeah. No, I mean, outside of that, I mean, I really don't see much of a connection to Old Boy outside of the long game and in South Korean. I mean,
yeah.
But that excuse alone is not good enough as far as I'm concerned. But as far as playing mental mind games go, it's pretty good. And actually, the movie does play a mental mind game with the audience because honestly, I was starting to get a little confused here. It was working on me, I mean, it's not a very convoluted story. It's very straightforward and very easy, to understand. But there's a part in the film that's later on in the third act where things really start getting messed up, and you really don't know who to believe. There's plenty of backstory. There's plenty of, because it's a non-linear film. You get a lot of backstory, a lot of things that happened in the past interjected into this movie, and that's pretty easy to follow. But there's a moment in that third act in which it just starts to really started to mess with my head, and I was wondering, wait, did I just miss something, or are they playing with me, or and I'm starting to second guess myself. And I don't know if that happened to you guys, but it happened to me.
Yeah.
And it wasn't through a lack of paying attention or anything like that. It was like, wait a second, didn't they just wait, hold on, what?
Yeah.
Right. And
there was some times you had to flip flop, like, wait, is that actually what's going on, or not? Yeah. Or
And mostly when movies play that kind of game with you, you could follow through with it. You could see through their bullshit. You could see what they're doing. Here, no. It just totally threw me. And I didn't know what the hell was going on. I didn't know who was who afterwards. and like I said, it's not through out of not paying attention. It was just done out of good storytelling, good acting, good directing, and just solid performances during that scene, because it just totally threw me.
Yeah. I feel like there's not too much more we can say about this, because it's difficult to talk about it in detail without sort of like getting into more of the nitty gritty. But I will say, I thought both of the leads were cast exceptionally well, because I felt like the cop, when the sort of body swap, the Freaky Friday happened, like, I feel like he played a really good fucking heel.
Oh my God.
Like almost a better heel than than Hero, like Face. And I was like, this guy is like really fucking believable. He is kind of fucking scary.
The fucking phone scene, the phone gimmick. Oh shit.
He's good. He's really good. But one of the drawbacks was the fact that he's not very physically. He doesn't look physically capable of taking down the cop that was working with him, or not working with him, but
wait.
Oh, you think you're talking about the wrong person? Because we're talking about the
screwed me up again.
We're talking about the lead cop, the one who did the body swap. Like he was physically imposing and looked evil.
Well, that's what I'm thinking.
Okay.
Oh, you're talking about the cop.
The cop.
Oh fuck.
All right, I'm talking about
the killer, the snuff lord.
Snuff lord.
But he also looked innocent, and like he was very believable as like playing the cop in his body. Like I felt like he went from like this crazy maniacal fucking character to almost like this innocent character who wasn't in control,
First of all, the kid looked like he was 16, 17 years old, for starters. Okay. He didn't look very old. And I'll use the term that you use, physically imposing. Compared to that cop, to that kid, there's no, I mean, you look at those two, you put them in a fight, you tell me who's going to walk out. I can tell you right now, it ain't going to be the kid.
But they did a good job of selling him as like a maniac, and it showed like there was something almost supernatural about him too, So I feel like they did a really good job. But the casting was great, because when they swapped, it was totally believable that the other guy seemed like a villain and the other guy seemed like a hero,
Right.
So really
it's
good
super
casting.
tough to play two different roles.
Sure.
Like at the same, picture. And you got that sense.
Yeah.
Like you got the sense
on completely different ends of the spectrum,
Right. And that's and you know what I like too? I like the cops in this movie. I like the team. They were actually good cops, and I probably haven't rooted for cops this much since Police Academy 2. Like I'd like the squad. I liked the senior officer. I liked the deputy gimmick. I like the team.
Yeah.
I like the wife. I like
I
the
agree.
daughter.
Yeah.
Hey.
Slow it down. Slow it down.
And I thought that this was, I was surprised to see this is the director's first film because this
Stop it.
I said that earlier. Oh, you probably weren't here.
No, he took off.
It's a feature film debut. He has nothing on his filmography that I can see.
How many movies did John Woo have before he did Face Off?
A lot.
About 130.
No. He's not as he's no Mike, yeah.
Mike did 130 films this month.
They're in the show.
Yep.
Let me see. I'm trying to look up. I wanted to see if
sorry.
No, go ahead.
I just wanted to bring up and also I really dug the torture sequences. There was some really nice stuff going on there, particularly in that.
That's how I do it.
Particularly in that, what was it, like a camper or a school bus?
Oh,
I forget what.
Oh, yeah.
Trailer. There was some really nasty stuff going on in there. That was really, really awesome. To some people who really, really deserved it, and that put a smile on my face. Oh, I love torture.
Jesus Christ. One thing I thought was interesting was I'm trying to think of what they're like the slum snuff lord, like his accomplices, like they couldn't be found, like they're not reachable. Right. Like things like that. I thought that was kind of interesting and really added a cool element to why things happen the way they happened, And
then, like he had his whole snuff, crew. You had great background characters in the unit that our hero was in. And then you have this diabolical snuff lord villain with his cadre of fucking co-conspirators. And when you find out what their gimmick is, you're like, oh, well, that makes sense. There's a lot of great stuff in here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yo.
Yeah. That's Raven Shadow's yo moment.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you guys want to bring up before we hit the verdicts? I want to.
Yeah, a fucking lot, but you can't.
So don't.
Yep.
All right, I won't.
All right. Well, let's do the verdict on this one because there's a lot we can't talk about because there's some spoiler stuff here, and I feel like you just gotta see it if you're curious what we're talking about. If it's not making much sense, just know that there's like a Freaky Friday face-off sort of scenario here, kind of a hard-boiled crime thriller with definitely horror elements. There's a pretty good amount of gore and kills in this, and it doesn't shy away from it, So
and emotional tension, like you get worried about characters, like you can. Oh my God. When the prison doors fucking close, bro. when my man's trying to get out.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
come on now.
Yeah. All right, well, let's do the
I
verdict.
took fucking 20 Advil.
Jesus Christ. You're not supposed to do that. You're going to lie to your doctor about it now, too?
Yeah.
Trick or treat, baby. I wonder if people would say you're a trick or a treat.
Trick or treat, motherfucker.
All right, verdict time. We're going to let you know whether Devils was a trick or a treat. Any final thoughts? Yo, let's start with Raven Shadow.
Yo. I said I adore the Face Off. I've heard there was talk of doing a sequel or a remake the last couple years.
There is.
If that's
remake. Or actually,
is it a remake?
Is it a requel? I think it's Adam. Was it Adam Wingard that was going to do it? Let me look it up, but go ahead.
Maybe, but you know what? Hollywood, stop, because it's already been done, and it's done it better than you can do it. I fucking adored this movie. Top 13, probably. Check this the fuck out. You know, sneak out to your parents during the holiday season. Do your thing, and then I fucking love this movie. Love it. Treat.
All right, so before we go to MC, yeah, Adam Wingard, last thing I see was in July, and he said that as of then, he was still going to be working on it, and it's going to be a sequel. He says it's an absolute sequel. So not a remake. It's going to be a sequel, and it's going to be directed by Adam Wingard, at least as of July. Actually, I'm sorry, July 2022. So I thought it was 2023. Yeah, so I don't know.
It's probably going to happen.
We'll see. All right, MZ, your verdict.
Yeah, this was cool. This was a good flick. Its stumbling blocks are minor compared to the positives of this film. It leaves you hanging, wanting to know what the hell happened after that tumble down the hill, and you're not going to know for the longest time. The characters they're very well drawn out. I love how they're performed, especially the young cop. I really dug him.
Yeah,
because he was you could see the rookie side of him really coming through, where he was unsure of himself, and just not positive on a few things. And this is the I guess who the head cop who would be his partner. He played his role really, really well, with a lot of authority, but with a lot of caution and caring and things like that. He wasn't a stern fist kind of guy. He was a caring guy. He wants to make sure that his partner does well. And as things continue, you see that, you can obviously see there's something wrong with him. It's strange that nobody brought that up. They think that he's the same guy he was before the accident or before he went missing for a month. And they didn't exactly acknowledge that part of it for some reason. I don't understand why. That might be one little setback. I would have thrown in a little something on that. But the Snuff Lord, I'm not even going to bother his name. I'm going with Raven Shadow on this one. So the Snuff Lord is he was young and not intimidating, but played a maniacal role to the best of his ability and played it through really, really well. So you believed him. And if you believe in how this transformation took place, you'll just sit back and just let it happen. You'll enjoy this movie a whole lot more. And I did. This was a good movie. This is a treat.
That's what was said to MZ last time he had sex. Sit back and let it happen.
It'll be over in a second.
I'm probably gonna get in trouble for that now, aren't I, MZ?
No, I will though.
All right, so for me, yeah, this is a treat. This was fun. I like that it went places, even though you know the premise coming in, like they're not shy about telling you it's a body swap, you know, and it says right on the poster, trapped in a murderer's body. You know, I feel like saying that gives you certain expectations, and in a way they sort of still manage to subvert those expectations a little bit. So that I appreciated.
Sure.
And I like the way the story unfolds, and I like that some of the revelations, like, and where they're revealed at, you know, like key times, like not all at the end, but like as the story's unfolding, we see some stuff. So yeah, I appreciated that. I thought that this was well done. There is some good action. I feel like, if anything, if I'm nitpicking, I feel like it could have gone a little further in some directions. Like it could have embraced the horror or the action a little bit more to really kind of put it over the top. But I feel like it did just enough so that it didn't have a deficit of any of that stuff, you know. But I feel like there's an opportunity for maybe to go a little bit overboard with some of it, you know, like, because I mean, we've seen movies like I Saw the Devil, which is fucking awesome as well. Like, speaking of Old Boy, you know, I Saw the Devil was just fucking masterwork. That one goes to places, you know, like it goes to places, and I feel like this maybe had an opportunity where it could have just gone a little bit overboard with some elements. But I mean, that's a serious nitpick. Other than that, I think that this is a really good flick. If you're missing some sort of, like, you want some like a good amalgamation of like action and horror, I think that this is one of the better ones that you can check out this year in terms of that. Because I can't think of too many, but this one definitely fits that bill, and it's got some great performances. I think that's really where it stands out, is the performances and the direction. So yeah, Devils, it is a treat. Look at that, treats all around for the whole show. Are we going to carry that into next week, our final episode of December? I don't know. We'll see. We got one more next week. We'll be live Thursday, December 28th. We'll be tackling 2 flicks, closing out December double feature cram jam. And what I did for this, this was difficult to pick the final 2 films of the year, because I always want to try to see if we could pad out the top 13. I never know if something's going to be, you know, how good it's going to be, but I looked at some best of lists, some early best of lists that have already started coming out. And I said, okay, what are some films that are showing up on multiple lists? And I go back and look at the films that we had sort of like on our radar this year and see, were any of these on our radar? And both of these were on our radar, and they just didn't get done for whatever reason. But I saw them come up in some best of lists, and I was like, okay, well, let's do it. Let's tackle these. Maybe they can work their way into our top 13. One of them I know Ravenshell is going to be excited about, because he's heard, well, hopefully it doesn't pepper your thoughts about it, but you've heard the Zombie Girls talk about it, I believe. And that is Birth, Rebirth.
Oh, Snoop.
So you've been looking forward to that one, right, Ravenshell?
I have been. For
So,
9 months.
I actually watched this last weekend.
You did?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Look at you. Extra credit.
No. Oh, look at you, fucking scholar.
Interesting. Okay. So Birth, Rebirth. MZ's already seen it. And the other one we're going to do is Attachment. And this one, actually, I think it's been out for think it came out earlier in the year, and we almost did it. And for whatever reason, you know, something else comes out that's like a high profile thing, or something gets bumped up in a VOD release date. Sometimes things get shuffled, and then it gets on the list. And then if new stuff keeps coming out, like we try to do the new stuff. So invariably things get bumped. But these were two films that were on the radar to get done this year. And yeah, so there's a few films that I kind of was hoping to get in that we're just not going to get in. But that's the way it goes. So hopefully these are good choices. So we'll be doing Birth, Rebirth, and Attachment. And where did you watch Birth, Rebirth, MZ? Was it
in my living room?
I think it's on Shudder, because it's on AMC Plus is what it says, and usually that just means Shudder. So I think you can probably check out Birth, Rebirth on Shudder. Let me see here.
Birth, Rebirth is on Shudder.
Okay, so there you go. That's on Shudder. And then Attachment, was that also on Shudder? Let me see. I think it also is. Yeah, it came out in like February, so I think it must still be on Shudder. So I think I'll double check before we end the show, but I think both of these are streaming there. So just one service this week. And yes, it is. So Attachment is on Shudder. So that means both these films are on Shudder. So Attachment and Birth, Rebirth. We'll do those next week. Close out December double feature Cram Jam. Close out the year. And as always, if you guys have thoughts, send them our way. podcast@trickortreatradio.com. And we've been so involved in this upcoming live show tomorrow that I have neglected to ask for year-end submissions. So if anyone out there listening would like to send in a top 5 list for our year-end show, which we still have to plan a day, although I'm off from work until January 2nd. Is that right? Yeah, January 2nd, I think. So I got some time. So hopefully we can come up with a day. It will be sometime after next Thursday. So we have to have watched all the films. So we'll probably do the year-end show maybe 29th, 30th, 31st, somewhere in there. And then we'll drop it on the first of the year. And with that, we'll have our top 13 lists, all that stuff. So if you guys have a top 5, you guys can submit top 5 lists for top 5, whatever you want. Top 5 first watches, top 5 Trick or Treat radio films we did, top 5 theatrical releases, top 5 comics, top 5 albums, anything. Top 5, anything that you want, you choose. Send in a top 5. Send it to podcast@trickortreatradio.com. In the subject, just go ahead and say top 5. That's all you need to do, and I'll know exactly what it's for, and it'll get on the year-end show. So yeah, looking forward to seeing what people come up with for their top 5, and we'll talk about it again next week, just to give some people some time to get it out there. But all right, well that's it. You guys have anything else before we wrap up here?
Not really.
Nope.
All right. Well, we're ending a little earlier than usual, but still later than we should. But
earlier?
Hey, well, I mean, we've been ending at like midnight the last couple weeks.
Yeah.
Or several weeks.
Oh.
So look at that, 11:24. All right, so let's end this. Let's put this baby to bed. MZ is going to be the baby going to bed. All right, let's say goodbye. Starting with MZ. Baby to the boom boom.
Arrivederci, douchebags.
All right, Raven Shadow.
Live fast, love hard, die with the mask on.
All right, so that is going to do it. We appreciate you guys tuning in, hanging out. But you should tune in and hang out for the live show tomorrow, the live special. Krampus knocked 2. Krampus knocked 2 naughty 2 party.
We're going to be too naughty tomorrow night, I'll tell you that much.
That's right. And there'll probably be too many drinks being passed around, probably too many technical issues, too many everything. But it's going to be a fucking blast. We have a lot of cool stuff planned. We got some guest stars. We have the Zombie Girls. We have Rocky. We have us, Hollywood Squares. MZ is going to motherfucking host. If you guys ever wanted to see Monster Zero host a game show, tomorrow is your chance. Do not miss this. It's going to be something.
You don't even fucking know. Like, we know, but they don't fucking know.
No, they don't.
We know, and we don't even know.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. I don't know what we know, what you know, what we know.
Yeah.
But they know even less.
Right. So tune in tomorrow. And next week, come back, join us. We're going to talk about the films Birth, Rebirth, and Attachment, both streaming on Shudder. So go ahead, check them out. Let us know what you think. And everyone have a very happy holiday, whatever you celebrate. If you celebrate Hanukkah, you already celebrated. Happy Hanukkah. Happy Merry Christmas. Happy Kwanzaa. Winter solstice to everyone out there. So whatever you celebrate, go have fun. Celebrate as much as you possibly can, and we'll see you guys soon.